welcome to episode 155, not 175, as I said last week, of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other spark in the pod, a man who has been eyeballing all the awesome E3 content all week. It's Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Good evening, young sir. How are we?
I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. How are you?
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. Everything will be awesome once we finish this pod and start playing Lego Forza.
Yeah, no, everything is great apart from the fact that I twisted my ankle at work today. So I'm sitting here podding with an ice pack on my leg. So if my voice sounds grimacy as we go through this, don't worry, I'm just in pain.
It's just the painkillers kicking in.
Yeah, the painkillers and the 2 IPAs I've had already.
Nice. I bought myself up I haven't had it for ages, and I don't know why. I was doing some online shopping the other day, and I think the sun was out, and I was like, oh, I could do with a Kuppenberg. You know, the pear cider that tastes like Haribo. I was like, oh, I could just do one of those. And as I was coming up, I thought, shall I have a beer? Shall I have water? And then I saw the Kuppenberg in the fridge just looking at me. I was like, I'll have that. And you know what? It's bloody tasty. It's really nice. I haven't had it for ages. I'm going to drink. No, I'm not going to drink while I'm talking. But anyway, so apart from breaking your ankle, Stu, how have you been? Have you been enjoying E3? I guess is the biggest question with this.
Yeah, I finally have taken the matchsticks out of my eyes and stopped watching loads of content every night because obviously some of these conferences were in the early hours of the morning, and as I've said before with the pod, I'm quite busy at the moment with work, so I've been sort of like coming home from work, going for a run, having dinner, sticking on YouTube, and then catching up. So apart from Nintendo, I'm fully caught up now and ready to talk about it. What about yourself? Did you stay up for any of them?
I did. I kind of stayed up for a few. I had a couple of early mornings off to Manchester, but I did stay up for a few. I was watching. I watched Nintendo Live. I watched Xbox Live. I miss Bethesda, but I've seen it now. I've scrubbed through it, but I missed it because I thought it was Monday, not Sunday. I got my Bethesdas and my Square Enix, and then I think I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning to go off to Manchester, and I realised I had a slightly later train, so I just kind of watched some of the reveals from Square Enix, kind of at that kind of nice and early. So it was great fun. It was really good. So it was just, I love E3, as you guys know, as we are, the same kind of coming from you. It's just E3 is just such a great time. All of these announcements just kind of coming kind of at you all the time, starting Saturday with EA, and we'll get into the conferences because, as I was saying, this is our E3 spectacular. So as we do every year, is we'll just kind of run through the conferences, picking out the cool bits, the awesome bits, and just kind of really enjoying kind of what's those new announcements. But Stu, before we start, have you been playing anything?
No.
You've been playing the game of E3, what you've been playing.
I've been visually wanting to play loads of the games of E3, but yeah, I've been playing the bingo game of E3 and waiting to see, catching up on those talk-alongs and those conferences, and actually getting really annoyed with. I don't know if it's YouTube on the Apple TV, but I've been watching a lot of them on YouTube on the Apple TV, and I've been going to I was trying to watch some of the I think it was GameSpot ones, and I just kept on finding that adverts. I understand why people do adverts. They've got to earn money out of doing this. But when I was then watching like Square Enix's feed recording, for some reason it would just. I'd be watching it, and then all of a sudden the Apple TV would just go to the next video. But I still had an hour to go. I hadn't touched the remote control, wow. and it wasn't just on one conference. So it was slightly annoying, because then when I went to go back into the conference, come back out, go back into it, it put me back to where I was, or where I'd started or finished, the night before. So I ended up having to fast forward with it. So that was my one gripe with it. But
yes.
But no, I've been really enjoying it. It's some of it was a bit of a chore, I'm not going to lie. Some of it I did it in the passion of you, the listeners, and I sat there and watched them when I'm thinking, no, you can't scrub forward. You've got to watch this for a critical view, which we probably won't even talk about. But no, I did enjoy it. It's slightly deflating. It's bittersweet. I'm slightly deflated the fact it's over, but I'm also glad that it's over because there's a few games which are out now which we can get to play straight away.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I always find, because we're always attracted to the new shiny, it's kind of one of those things that the moment you kind of start seeing all these new games, you're playing whatever game you're playing and enjoying and loving, but then you see these new games, you see your Star Wars, you see Borderlands, you see Halo, whatever, and you just want to play those instead, you just want to I just want to play those new games. I just would love to be able to play, just have Star Wars, have that, have the Fallen Order, and things like that. It's fantastic. But yeah, no, I just love E3. But anyway, for me, I have still been playing some stuff, even those kind of waiting in during those conferences. I kind of went back into Rage.
Okay.
Because I think I spoke a couple of weeks ago, Rage 2. I started playing it, but I kind of played it, put it down, and I decided the other day to just sit there. I'm going to restart it, and I'm just going to jump into it, and I'm really loving it. So I gave it a nice big chunk of time, and the gameplay is fantastic. The characters are typical kind of id Bethesda characters, it's all kind of that OTT. It's a little bit kind of a serious Borderlands, but the gunplay and the kind of going to these different gas stations and taking out everybody and finding what you need to find, all of that sort of stuff, I am just absolutely loving. So that moment-to-moment kind of gameplay, I'm really enjoying. And right at the start of the game, you have to try and get an entrance into this club, but by doing that, you have to go and become a star of Mutant Bash TV, and then you have to then win some races as well. So there's like 2 events that you got to do. So you kind of drive to those. And Mutant Bash TV was very similar to Mad Moxie in Borderlands, where you basically have wave upon wave of mutants, and you just got to take them out. And it was really cool. And that game, I think I said before, but that game just looks stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And then the racing, it's not, we're not talking Forza Horizon here, which is thankful because I always come last, but it's not Forza Horizon here, but it's just was real good fun. You had like a booster and things like that, and you're kind of zipping around these courses. You only had to win, I think you had to win just one to become like the star of that TV. And now I can now go back to that club. It's very early on in the game still, but I can now go back to that club and now gain entrance, which is what I need to do. And just that, it was a good 3.5, 4 hours kind of just playing that. And I just really enjoyed it. I just want to jump back in. So that's Rage 2. So that's kind of a game that, in between, I think, kind of playing a lot of Forza Horizon, which we'll get to in a bit, the reason why we're back playing Forza Horizon, I'm going to be kind of jumping into Rage 2.
Is it a bit too... I mean, I've heard a few things that it's a bit sparse, and some of the AI doesn't interact with you. So like you'll be on the side of a road and some enemies will drive straight past you and completely ignore you. Where in other games that they obviously would, if that was Far Cry, for instance, one of my favourites, they'd turn around and you'd be shooting at you, then you'd have to outrun them.
No, they do just keep going. I didn't think, because if you press the Y button, you kind of shimmy over to the left, and I saw these 2 cars coming my way, so I shimmied in front of them and started shooting, and they just continued driving. They just kept going. But there are you do every now and then get some muties in the on the roadside that you can just stop and take them out, because they probably got a chest, and that chest will either have the crystals or it will have money. So I just kind of, I'm really playing this quite meticulously. I'm kind of like seeing those guys stopping, taking them out, taking the money, and I just had a blast. It was like 4 hours, and I just really had a blast.
Sounds fun.
And then the other game I've been playing, I've still been playing Days Gone. I'm still playing Days Gone. Do you know what? Last night, it was close. I thought, I'm going to go on the pod this week and I'm going to say that I have finished this game. But
have you finished this game?
No, it did this thing where you were going along and redacted, and then you did this redacted thing, and then you just thought, right, and then you had this guy went like, call me in, and we'll take you out of redacted, and then I was just like, yes, this is it, this is the moment. I could almost hear the Halo music playing, the ba 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 ba. It was getting close, and I got to the top of this hill, and then there was someone that you met from like 4 and 5 hours ago, and then they just kind of did this kind of rope-a-dope on you, and then you ended up going back and doing more missions, and it was just at the end, and I thought, this is it, I'm going to tell the guys I've done it, I'm going to say on the podcast that I've finished Days Gone, but I wasn't, and then suddenly, so I think this was about 11 o'clock last night, and this happened. I continued playing until about midnight, and so another 90 minutes after this point that I thought was going to be the end, and then now I'm looking for Manny. I'm like, I don't care about Manny. Their Manny, not our Manny. Obviously, I care about our Manny. I'm like, I don't care about Manny. Leave him in the woods. But what's happening is I've kind of done this thing, and I need it to trigger what could potentially be the very last mission, but it's not triggering right now. So I've just got to go and do these just menial tasks, like I'm right at the end. There's a big crescendo. Crazy things are happening in the world, and I'm going to find Manny, who's been lost in the woods, who fell off his bike. It doesn't make sense. And I was just like, but it was so funny. Oh, I thought that's it. I'm finishing this game. It's going to be so good, but no, alas.
So between us talking last week and us podding tonight, how many hours do you reckon you put in?
Probably putting another 4 hours.
Blimey.
I've probably put another 4 hours in. I had a Sunday morning before I needed to do some DIY, and so I kind of probably put about 2 hours into this. So probably about 3.5 hours of thinking that this was it. I mean, one of them was a tricky horde. There was a horde in a cave. You saw that screenshot that I sent you where I drove up to the cave
with no entrance.
Yeah, it was like, just go to the cave, and I drove around, and their cave had no entrance. It just not rendered the entrance at all. And so I had to restart. And then in there was a real tricky horde that you had to take out. So I just that took a while. In the end, it was just pure frustration. I took off the game audio. I was listening to some music, and I just basically just hid in a corner, waited for them to come up the stairs, and I just threw Molotovs and pipe bombs and grenades in their direction, and there was this huge pile of smoke, and this one poor zombie or freaker just came strolling out of the smoke. All of the others that had been chasing me for ages, they were all dead, but this one little zombie kind of came out, so I just hit him with my stick, and it was just this game will just never end.
He survived a hand grenade, but you took him out of your stick.
Exactly. He survived the hand grenade, a pipe bomb, and a Molotov cocktail. But yeah, so I just took him out with my stick.
Death by Splinter.
Yes, but it did have nails in it,
okay.
But it was still a stick. But yeah, so I really hope I've got to that point now where I can't stop playing this game, because when it did this, when I was stuck in that cave and I couldn't take that horde out, I was very close to just taking that disc out, popping it back in its boomerang envelope, and just posting it back, going, I never want to play that game ever again. But what I did was I just persevered and kept going, and I will get to the end of that game. When I see those credits, I'm probably going to cry.
Is this the point where we have to put on the pod, please stay tuned for further developments? Check back in the next 5 pods, see if Anthony can beat this game.
I really don't want to be talking about this game anymore, but it's just but I'm still, the thing is though, and the thing that I've always said about Days Gone is I'm still enjoying it. Yeah. I'm like now driving around in my bike, and I've got it kind of souped up a little bit and doing all these things. I'm just really enjoying it. I just wish it would end. I did a sneaky mission and I got to the top of this redacted, and I just thought this is going to be awesome, and it just was like, oh, you got to go and find Manny. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
I feel sorry for our Manny, because the next time you see him, I feel you're going to punch him just as maybe. Oh yeah, your name's Manny. I don't know who the other one is, but I'm just going to punch you because you're a Manny.
I'm going to punch you because you got lost on your bike, and I'm just like...
You cost me 5 hours, you beep!
But yes, I hope to just like I say, with the weekends coming, so we're podding this on Thursday, so I'm hoping to just maybe kind of get it finished over the weekend. My only problem I have now is that Nicola has discovered Horizon Zero Dawn. And she is absolutely loving it. She is just crazy for it at the moment. As I went up to, just as I was about to come up to pod, she went, oh, can you do me a favour? Can you fire up their PlayStation for me? Because I want to play Horizon. So she's deep into Horizon Zero Dawn now. And yeah, no, she's just really enjoying it. So, we're going to be fighting. So I have to kind of get up early on Saturday, before she's awake so I can play on the PlayStation.
So have you just got the one PlayStation downstairs in the movie room?
Yes. So it's just there, just the one. There's a Xbox up in the living room, but there's just It's 3 Xboxes, but 1 PlayStation. That's the ratio of gaming.
I'm happy with that ratio.
Yes. Right. That's what we've been playing. So, let's jump into our E3 coverage. But before we jump into E3, don't forget, you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube. So, it's E3. And as you guys know, as I said before, we're just going to run through the highs, the lows of all those E3 conferences. And first up, Stu, it's Star Wars. I mean, it's EA, but it's Star Wars. It's like
I just like the fact that, I mean, hats off to EA. They knew that a majority of these people were majority of us were gonna be there for Star Wars and nothing else. So first of all, I think hats off to EA, the way they structured it, and even when what was it? I think the feed started at 5:15, but I don't think Star Wars was until 5:30, which I thought was quite good, because then it was Greg Miller, wasn't it? He came on and he sort of like showed you the amuse-bouche menu that you were going to have, and I thought that was quite good the way they did that, and they literally did it in half an hour stream. So I thought that was really good. So first up, Star Wars. I feel like I could talk about this forever. I don't know whether I should talk about it or I should hand it over to the true Star Wars fan, and then the pod will go for about 4 hours. So let's see how this goes. So what did you think of Star Wars, Anthony?
I thought it was just absolutely incredible. Just seeing that, the fact that, so what EA did was, as you were saying, Greg Miller was kind of, was there asking questions and interviewing. I think he did a really good job as well of keeping the excitement going on that one. But what we had, it was like recorded gameplay.
Yeah.
So the guy who did the gameplay, I think he was in the audience. He was became a superstar towards the end of that. But they gave us a 15-minute slice of the gameplay trailer. They said it's about 3 hours in to the game. So they gave us that. So we saw the protagonist in Jedi Fallen Order, kind of doing a bit of wall running straight away. The best thing that happened right at the start was he did a little bit of wall running, and I just thought that was amazing. Just because obviously they're well known, Respawn are well known for kind of the wall running and all of that. So it was just really cool to just see, right at the start, we're going to get some of that sort of traversal around the world. And then obviously we also had in my notes, I've got BD1 is really cute. So we've got, so we had BD1, which is the Buddy Droid 1 that is on the back of, I'm trying to figure out what that guy's name is. I can't remember what the main protagonist's name is. I'll get it in a sec. I'll get it. Kyle Katis. So it was on his back. So it was on his back, and then it was kind of helping him it was giving him health at some point. But I don't know about you, but I mean, this game, they said it was pre-alpha footage, but it looked pretty cool. Yeah. There was some textures popping here, there, but this is an early slice. They want to share that with us. They want to share the game with us. So I was just grateful for what I was kind of seeing in my eyeballs. But there's some really good moments in that gameplay. There was great moments where you were just standing back and letting a giant spider take out a whole load of stormtroopers, which was fantastic. You could have just jumped in and had almost 2 foes to kind of battle, but instead the character was just kind of hanging back a little bit. The player was just hanging back a little bit and then just kind of jumping in. But for me, and kind of jumping all over this, the kind of 2 big points for me was Saul Guerrero from Rogue One was in it, and he was just fantastic because he's such a great character, obviously voiced by and with the likeness of Forrest Whitaker.
Very much.
Saul Guerrero was in, yeah. So it was just so cool. All you heard, I think, was his voice first. Yeah. He was like, "Jedi, come over here," and I was just like, "Yes, Saul Guerrero," and I just like, Nicola's like looking at me because I think she found that she hadn't done 5 stars on a couple, or 4 stars on a couple of Overcooked levels, or 5 stars or 4 stars on a couple of Overcooked levels. So she was playing that while I was watching EA, and I was just kind of losing it in the corner. I was just like, so that was great. But also, there was some real amazing moves as well. So there was one, which is kind of the standout of this kind of gameplay segment, where a stormtrooper fired their gun, and then your character, similar to Kylo Ren in Force Awakens, you froze the bullets and they just hung there. They just stayed there kind of fizzling away. And then what he did was he then force grabbed the stormtrooper and then put the stormtrooper in the way of his bullets.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then let the force go, and then it just shot that stormtrooper. And I was just like, I'm going to be doing that all over this game. And I just thought it was fantastic. So we saw that there was leveling up. We saw that there's going to be a skill tree because I think it come up and said like 1 skill point acquired. And the fact that this game is canon, all of those things all together is just, this is going to make for quite an interesting kind of Star Wars game come September. It is September, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was typical Respawn and
November, not September.
It was typical Respawn. As soon as you saw the wall running, it was Titanfall. The Titanfall 2 campaign, if you've not played it, is brilliant. I urge you to go and play it because it's brilliant. And but yeah, for me, it's just like it had those Jedi sort of bits, where you could throw your lightsaber. As you say, you can use. There was one bit where he comes to a sealed door and he can use his force to open the sealed door, and it was just sort of like it just seemed very pleasing to already.
Yes.
Something you could. I just hope it's. I don't think. Have we heard how long it is?
No, we haven't heard about like campaign length or anything like that.
I hope it's a good length and it's not over too quick, because it's like it's got so much character about it, and I think what we saw there, and then we've seen a little bit more since. I mean, there's one, I can't remember if it was the EA scene, but there's one scene where they both come up out of the water with an AT-AT. I'm going to call it an AT-AT. An AT-AT in the background.
We're that old, Stu. We can call it AT-ATs.
We can call it
That's
AT-ATs,
fine.
Yeah. And damn you. It was sort of like that came up in the background, and you got that real sense of scale of how big that was compared to them. And yeah, I'm not wishing my year away, but I can't wait to play this.
But I want November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, before I forget
that.
to say it, what T-shirts? Everyone, all the conferences I've seen, like every one of these ones we're going to talk about, they had some awesome T-shirts of some of these people, and it was especially the Respawn stuff. The Apex Legends ones were awesome as well, and it was just like I think I was looking on Twitter and looking everywhere to see if I could buy these T-shirts somewhere, but you can't, unfortunately.
Well, I think they were giving away the Fallen Order ones at E3. They were kind of like if you bought in the Microsoft booth, if you bought over £50 worth of merch, like of accessories, you got a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, because they weren't as good as the guys from Respawn. Their Fallen Order T-shirts, but they were still very cool.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. That T-shirt was just like so cool. But this game fits into the canon of Star Wars as well. So obviously with Saw Gerrera in there, and there's going to be other characters. They're obviously keeping a lot, but I think they did tease either in that or an interview that I watched later with Vince Zampella that there's going to be more surprises. There's going to be more characters kind of popping all up. And if you think about it, it is going to be around that Rogue One-ish. Kind of the start of Rogue One, not the end of Rogue One, because we know what happens to Saw. But it's going to be all kind of around, we know the time frame of this. It's in between the last Star Wars movie and Rogue One, really. Yeah. So it's kind of in between there somewhere. But to see some other characters pop up, that could be quite cool. Will you get to see Darth Vader?
Yeah, true.
Oh, that reminds me, actually. Sorry, slight tangent. I started, I played through Vader Immortal on the Oculus Quest the other day, and there is a bit where Darth Vader, you're basically in a holding cell. The holding cell door comes open. One of those little round kind of probe droid kind of things are in there, and Darth Vader stands in front of you. And I've never been so intimidated. The only kind of thing I could liken it to is the start of the Batman one, where you were young Bruce Wayne in an alley and you felt really small. But when Darth Vader walks in and he comes right up close to you, I felt intimidated. I felt like I was just like he could just take me out right there, and it was very cool. But that game is just awesome. But it was that moment kind of twigged when I thought of Darth Vader. I now kind of have this kind of foreboding feeling about Darth Vader because he was just so much bigger than my character in Vader Immortal.
It seems to be. We've got the film this year, haven't we? As well, we've got film at Christmas this year, and then obviously we've got this.
Yes.
And I can't remember if it was in the EA conference, but I remember they also are doing updates to Battlefront as well. So they're doing more updates. So there is I haven't turned Battlefront on for a while, so I think I'm gonna dip back into that and play some of that up until to get my Star Wars fix until these come out. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of Star Wars action out there, and it looked. I mean, the game looks great. I mean, I know that they said about there's a skill tree, but they I think I saw one interview with one of the devs, which was like they can talk about the skill tree, then they quickly backtracked and said, actually, no, we're going to save that as a surprise. So because I think they said they've got more content coming out this week or in a few weeks. They got some more in-game action, and there you'll find out what the skill tree is. And then he backtracked and said, actually, no, you won't. That will be revealed later about where the game comes in. But yeah, it would it would be good if you can upgrade, not necessarily upgrade your weapons because you've got a lightsaber, whatever better weapon is there, but maybe, upgrade your skills as if you'll be getting a better Jedi, or, being able to swap between, different ways of doing this, different ways of that. But yeah, I can't wait, cannot wait.
Yeah.
Day one, day off, week off, month off, rest of the year off. I'll be playing it. Yeah.
Just start your Christmas holiday on November 10th when that game comes out. I was like, right, I'm done now.
Sold.
But it just looks so good. It looks so good. And like I say, you're right. There was swampy AT-ATs in the, cause they had a quick kind of recap, didn't they? In the Xbox conference. We'll get to that later. They had a quick, recap there, and there was, swampy AT-ATs in there as well, with all kind of algae kind of dripping off the AT-ATs. And they just looked so cool. So that was quite a nice, I'm glad they didn't spend too much time in Xbox, because there was a lot of other stuff that we needed to kind of get through. But it was nice just to kind of see it there, and for them just to kind of make it. And I bet running on the Xbox One X, that's going to look stunning.
Yes.
It's going to look absolutely incredible when it comes out.
That's almost new TV worthy.
Exactly. So that was, I think it was one of the highlights that I had last week, but it definitely was a highlight. Seeing gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was absolutely perfect. And then next up was Apex Legends.
Yep.
So Apex Legends came on, as I was saying last week. That's when I started ordering my tie. So I ordered my tie from a really nice place in Tunbridge Wells. I had a pad thai and a chicken red curry. It was very nice. But Apex Legends came on. They kind of went through that. There's a new character coming. So we got a new player, which was Watson. They announced Watson, and she looks cool. She looks really good.
She doesn't look like a butler though. I thought it was going to be a butler with an Uzi or something like that.
Like Pennyworth, because there's a TV show coming out this year called Pennyworth, which is about Alfred.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's before he was the Wayne's butler, he was badass. So, I kid you not, I cannot make this stuff up. So Apex Legends came out, and they had a really good showing of Apex. I mean, there was a lot of talk of OP weapons, and some new weapons, and the crowd were going crazy on this.
Yeah.
And it just looked like, it just kind of cements that Apex is just such a ton of fun, and Respawn are just they're just doing it right now.
At the moment.
They really are. Yeah, they really are.
There were new characters. There was some new weapons, new skins. And then they've the battle pass, and then they launched season 2. I'll be honest with you, I've not jumped into Apex Legends, and I was going through. I've got a funny thing where my Seagate drive just doesn't, unless I go on the floor and unplug it and plug it back in again. The Xbox doesn't recognise it. It's almost like,
oh wow,
yeah, it gets really annoying. So I went to do something the other day, and it was about a month ago, and it was like, oh, you need more space. I'm like, oh, I really can't be bothered to get up and do that again, because it's not like quickly do it. Sometimes you have to do it 10 times. So I deleted Apex Legends, and I'm like, I'm not going to get around to playing that. I'm not going to bother. And then, honestly, after watching this, I just started the Xbox back up again, downloaded Apex Legends, and I think I was having a conversation. With Manny, I think, I can't remember now, about playing. I think they were playing on the on the PlayStation, but I've downloaded it again. I'm going to jump in and have a play, because it does look really good. It looks like my type of game. So no, I was really, really, really pleased with that. That looks really good.
Yeah, I think with Apex, I think I've always kind of jumped in with like a bunch of randos, but I think if you could have 3 people, because it's 3 teams, isn't it? It's like 3 teams. I think if you can jump in with a group of 3, I reckon that's a really good game.
Yeah.
I reckon that's a really good kind of fun game to play.
Yes, definitely. And so then after Apex, we had Battlefield 5. So we've got new content coming out for that, which again looked interesting. They got a new Pacific Theatre of War coming in this latest, which looked very, very stunning. And it was
a Greek island, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were showing you. They were showing you how they went there on a business trip. And I'm holding my fingers up in the air, doing inverted commas now to shoot the footage. A bit like shooting the clouds in Australia, where Forza Horizon did that. But that looks good. I love Battlefield, and I've played quite a bit of it. I love the single player campaign. Again, I might sound like I go on about it sometimes, but I just wish they would release more single player content. Yes. I don't mind multiplayer, but I'm not a massive multiplayer game person, and a little bit like Battlefront. I really enjoyed the single player campaigns, and I think that I liked when Respawn hit another chapter of the Star Wars, and I'm like, maybe they will get this more. So if there's anybody out there who listens to this pod who's in one of these studios, it would be nice if we could just do maybe more content drops when we do more map drops, even if I know it probably costs a lot of money to do and things like that, but I know I'm going to switch on Battlefield. No, I'm going to like it. No, I'm going to like the maps. I'm going to play it. But there's part of me which would be like, it'd be really good if there was a single player rescue campaign or something in this as well. So it's a bit of a bittersweet. But it did look stunning. It looked absolutely stunning.
And also, they have now placed it into the vault as well. So if you have EA access, it's now free to play. So which quote unquote free for your subscription money. Free to play, which I thought was really good because I played the 10-hour demo. Played some of the single player campaign, had a quick go of the multiplayer, but now it's there, sitting there waiting for me to kind of find some time really and start playing it some more. So I'm definitely interested in jumping in.
No, definitely worth it. Really, really worth it. If you like those types of games, very much worth it. And then after Battlefield, we jumped into I think I went and cooked my burgers at this point. But we then jumped into FIFA, Madden, and then Sims 4, I think.
I mean, Madden looks really cool. Madden kind of looks really good. That's definitely one that I'll play when it comes into EA Access. I always have that maybe around the Super Bowl. I start kind of playing it. But there's a 10-hour trial, obviously, with EA Access, but they're kind of bringing another career mode again to kind of Madden, where it will actually be able to take you from college football all the way through to the NBA drafts. Okay. And the gameplay looked amazing. There's some technical stuff that I'm sure kind of got Manny and James and Matt kind of quite happy, and Steve quite happy about some kind of technical moves and some technical jiggery-pokery that's happening this year, with kind of quarterbacks and things. But I just thought it looked fantastic, and that I'd be quite interested to play the kind of the long shot mode. I think that was in NBA 18, but I think this has definitely got some kind of like personalized career campaign mode in it. So I quite like the idea of that. I think as I'm getting more and more kind of interested or kind of back into NFL, it's quite nice just to kind of take a punt.
Yeah,
pun intended on this game that's free on EA Access, which is fantastic.
I think it's definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think with the EA Access thing, I think that is brilliant because if you're not a usual participant in that type of game, or even as I'm finding lately, you think, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Actually, if you wait 6 months or whatever, it ends up on EA Access as well. And it's
exactly,
and we have so much to play. What's the harm in waiting? So I do it with FIFA every year, and on the subject of FIFA, the one thing that they did announce was they're bringing a Volta football style. So I've just clicked on the link we've got in front of us here, which is EA Sports FIFA 20. This big new addition will be Volta Football, a career mode blending NBA 2K's My Career levels of personalization and customization with FIFA Street type football matches and tricks. It looked really good. House rules, players give modes of 3-on-3, 4-on-4 with no keepers, 4-on-4, 5-on-5 with keepers, and professional futsal players on hard courts, 5-a-side pitches. It's just, I think over the last few years, I think they've rightly or wrongly, I can't comment on it, but they've been criticised, I think, a bit with the just, FIFA 19 is just the same as FIFA 18, which was the same as FIFA 17. So it's nice to see them bring something back. They brought women's football into it, which is brilliant because we've got the World Cup on at the moment. And they brought Champions League into it. Good old Liverpool winning that. Sorry, James. So I think it's just nice because actually, looking at it now, it will make me go into it with maybe I might buy it this year. Pay my 10 hours free if it's in there and see how it goes. So, hats off to them. That's a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really cool that they just kind of added that. It must be hard, especially for those kind of games, because you've got to continually evolve. Just a new roster is never kind of enough for those games. I've always been surprised that we've never just got like a FIFA and a Madden and just as a platform, and then just every year they just kind of change the rosters and maybe change the graphics, like a Destiny or something like that, or like a Sea of Thieves. But I've always been quite surprised that we've never kind of got that. But it's quite cool. I love the thing about both of those games is that you can always, there's always a jump in graphics. There's always a jump in, they're like first to do kind of like HDR of a sports game. They're always the one that kind of comes out, especially as they tend to showcase new consoles as well, don't they? You kind of get an NBA game or an EA game like Madden or FIFA, and there's always tend to be kind of, something nice and shiny about it. And then I think to wrap up EA Play, they then went into Sims 4 and they showed off the island living pack, or the next kind of pack for that, which was Island Living, which is coming out on June the 21st on PC, and Xbox and PlayStation 1 get it on July 16th. So that next expansion comes out. Lots of sandcastles, lots of people kind of in beach buggies and kind of just having a summer vacay in there. So it just seemed quite cool. It seemed quite fun if you're into Sims. Again, that was another one that, because I just was like watching that, I went into EA Access to see if Battlefield was there, and I was like, Sims, should I check it out? So that's the great thing about, I think that's the great thing about Game Pass, and that's the great thing about EA Access, is the fact that you can just go, do you know what, I'll give it a go. And if you played it for like an hour and you didn't like it, the only thing you've lost is your time. It's just so
you probably got some good achievements as well. So
exactly. I'm not a completionist where I have to kind of, that would worry me. But so I can just have those one achievements on one game.
You're not your wife then.
No. I'd love to be able to. I'd love to be able to say, like, you've got a game that maybe you just got one achievement of. You're never going to go back in, to kind of delete that game from your history and forfeit the achievement as well.
Yeah.
That kind of cheesy kind of like 5-point achievement that they get for just turning on the game. Like I was playing, what was I playing? I was playing, there was a really good game that I was playing the other day. It was in Game Pass, River Bond.
Oh, okay.
And that's a game that, when I got more time, that's a game that was definitely going to interest me. And literally, you walked over to the first big frog in the water, and it just gave me a 10-point achievement. I went, journey's begun. I was like, all I did was walk. I pushed don't give me an achievement for that. I didn't deserve it. So yeah, so that's EA. So the big EA Play event finished off with The Sims. They had some more kind of, I think throughout the week, they were showing some more gameplay of all of those different games that we've been announcing, we've been talking about, so they kind of had that as well. But I thought, Star Wars was the star of the show there, and I thought it kind of had a good showing. There was a really good interview afterwards where they were just talking a little bit more about it, and I thought, great idea, great concept, and I could have done with a little bit of a conferencey thing with a little bit more kind of announcements, but they laid it out right at the start, as you were saying, like that quarter past to half past was Greg Miller and everyone else, Golden Boy and everyone else, Julia Harding, all of those just basically saying, this is what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, they went from section to section to section going, this is what I'm going to say. So you knew, and I think even online and on Twitter, they kind of broke it down as well to time. So it's like, if you've just got half an hour to spend and you want to watch Madden, then tune in at 10:30, you're going to get that there. And I just thought that was great. It was like, this is what we've got. Tune in when you want. It's a la carte.
I think I completely agree. I think what was nice was that for me, it wasn't a conference. It was structured so you could watch what you wanted to watch. But it was actually quite nice the way they did it out in the open air. You know, you could never do that in this country. The way you could do that out in the open air, you know, and it just was very informal. It looked like the people in the crowd were true fans of what they were watching. So, you know, there was the hype was quite good. Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I think they've had a lot of criticism over the last few years, but I think they did a good job. I was really pleased. A great way to start E3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you who did do a good job, Microsoft. The Xbox conference, the kind of real big, meaty, beefy conference of E3 because Sony wasn't showing up and Nintendo do their Direct, which was lovely and we'll get to it a bit later. But Microsoft kind of came out. They had that moment where it was supposed to be 2 hours. I saw online a lot of chatter kind of on the Saturday and the Friday that it was going to be 2 hours.
Yeah.
There was even some TV schedule in the US where they carved out 2 hours for it. Ended up being about an hour and 34 minutes. Yeah. But what they did was incredible. I think it was really funny actually, because while I was waiting for that conference to begin, I started watching the previous conference. So last year's conference. And last year's conference, they had like 50 games. Yeah. And this year's conference, they had 60 games. Yeah. You know, they had 60 games, of which 30 were going to be day and date in Game Pass. Yeah. So for me, that was just like, what a big achievement that was, you know, just there. Now, unfortunately, I did start taking notes, but then I got so excited that I stopped taking notes. So I'm going to have to read off of the news.xbox.com one that kind of has like, here's a full breakdown of that conference. I've got my little pad. I started writing and I've got some things here there that I can share as I was going through, but I just got so excited that I just put my pad down. What with kind of messaging the WhatsApp group and then writing that, I found myself I wasn't watching and just wasn't enjoying all the gloriousness. So I don't.
And it was the only conference where I mean, I think EA. I was on WhatsApp. You were on WhatsApp, and I think some of the other guys were. I can't remember now, but I think with the Microsoft one, all the sparks were on the WhatsApp group messaging.
Yes.
So everybody was there, you know, beer in hand, IPA in hand, watching this. So it certainly brought the crowd in our end.
Indeed. I had some mighty fine beers actually, and I only got through 2. I had 3, and I only got through 2 because again, I just wasn't drinking. I was just sitting there with my mouth open, watching what was unfolding in front of me. You can't hold beer in
your mouth when your chin's on the floor.
It's like I said to Nicola, I said, right, at 10 o'clock, I want you to come down. There is a cold glass. There is a glass in the fridge, and there's a can next to it. I need you to pour the contents of that can into that cold glass and then give it to me at 10 o'clock, not a minute before. And she kind of gave me that look like, why did I marry you? But then I ended up messaging her about 1:45 going, don't worry about my 10 o'clock beer. I'm still on my 9 o'clock beer because I just was watching the conference, but I kind of gave very specific instructions. So stuff. There was lots of stuff. Obviously, I think, you know, should we start with the big stuff, Stu? We'll kind of work our way backwards. So the big stuff is, there was a new Elite controller. That's the biggest stuff.
Not buying it.
But the great thing about the Elite controller, I mean, that thing is a thing of beauty. You know, you have to admit that thing is just an absolute just thing of beauty. And they've added more layers, you know, they've now improved on the Elite controller. The fact that you've got that tension on the thumbstick, so you can go from 360, from 360, and I can't remember my 360 sticks being that great, but anyway, go 360 to medium to Xbox One, and you can kind of do that. There's more controls on the thumbsticks, there's more paddles, there's more profiles. This thing is really kind of back to the drawing board. What do we need? But the nicest thing, the coolest thing about this whole announcement was that they showed the lab where they were testing.
Oh, yeah.
And those little kind of like robots that were like they were like making the joypad go round, pressing the buttons a million times, and
it was reminiscent,
playing around with the grip.
It was reminiscent of, if anybody's ever been into an IKEA shop, which I would imagine most people have, they always, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have the chair there, and they used to have the prod that pushed the chair to replicate the fact that you were sitting in this chair. So they literally had all these machines just pressing those buttons that simulated a lifetime of pressing. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Why I say I won't buy it is because, one, I've just started using my white Elite, and I don't feel I use that for as much as it should do. Like the triggers underneath, the longer stalks, things like that. So, although I will probably get this at some point, if when the other one goes wrong or we get a new gen console. But yeah, it did look stunning. And as I said, they split it apart. I think they were talking to them a bit more in the Inside Xbox, where they just showed that the whole thing was split apart and it's been designed from the inside out. It's not a Series 1 that's just been jigged around and the outside's been changed. It is a completely new controller designed from the floor up. And yeah, like before, where you had 2 ways of doing something, you've now got 3 ways of doing it. So you can have your buttons set up for Forza or Gears or Halo. So I think it is definitely the best controller out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It just looks absolutely stunning. It's and what they have since, I don't know if it was inside Xbox or it was later, but they have now confirmed that all accessories, I think it was on a Giant Bomb stream, that they confirmed that all accessories will be forward compatible with Scarlet. So you buy this when it comes out in November. So it comes out in November. It's about £150 in the UK. And that's going to be forward compatible. So you've already got, that Series 2. Unless, of course, they kind of go, here's the Series 3 with it would be nice if they would say, right, here's Series 2. When we release Scarlet, we're not going to bring out another Elite controller. That this is kind of it for the next couple of years, because there could be a lot of people sitting on the fence going, well, I'm going to get Scarlet, but will Scarlet have a better controller? Will it have a different controller? So, it's almost you're paying £150 for a year. Now, obviously, with all the games we're about to go through and the games that we've already been talking about, there's a good old lot of games coming out. This comes out, that controller comes out just as Fallen Order comes out as well.
You sold it. You sold it to me now.
But the coolest thing was not only being forward compatible, but it was also the fact that the case, which mine still stays in, and I really love that. I love that kind of, there was a quote from, I want to say Richard Ledbetter, but I think Richard Ledbetter is from Digital Foundry. This is like Chris Ledbetter, his brother, but he's the guy who designed that controller, and he basically just said there's a small amount of people that still kind of keep their Elite in a case, and they kind of put it away like a tool, and I was just like, that's me, that's what I do every night, I put it in the case and I shut the case. But what they've done is they've made the case a charging dock, because what we haven't said is that unlike all of the other Xbox 360 and Xbox One controllers, this does not have a battery pack. So there's no battery pack on this one. It has an inbuilt battery similar to your PlayStation controller, and they've said that it's going to be lasting about 40 minutes. 40 minutes is like, that's just like one go for it. No, it's going to be lasting about 40 hours of gameplay before it kind of, so that, I'll be interested to see if that's the same when you plug headphones in, because I sometimes find that my rechargeable batteries kind of go down when I kind of stick my headphones in. But that's still good. I'm never going to sit there and play 40 hours in one day, and I'll just dock it every night. So it's absolutely fine.
I don't know. One of my pet hates about the PlayStation is the rechargeable controllers. So there's a small part of me that is a bit like, I know that we've got to be a lot greener in this day and age, and batteries is one of those things that, like plastic straws that we use and just throw away. But there is a small part of me that, it pings up going, oh, your battery and your controllers are low. Right, quick, go to the kitchen, open the drawer with 1001 AA batteries in it, plonk them in, you're ready to go again. So I think it's just, we're going to have to get used to that. But no, I mean, the case was, the case was a thing of beauty. Having that, they turn it around. You've got a little port on the back that you plug your lead into, but you can actually take the dock out. They said you can take the dock out and put it on top of your entertainment system or something like that. So you don't have to have it in the case if you're not as fussy as that.
Exactly. It's a USB-C.
Yeah.
It's USB-C connection, so it's not too bad. So that was the controller. They also announced, obviously we knew they were going to do it. They announced Project Scarlet. Yep. They've called it Project Scarlet, similar to Project Scorpio that we had a couple of E3s ago. We're in that cycle where I was hoping that maybe Microsoft will break out of that cycle, but we're in that predictable cycle where what we're going to do is get, talking heads talking about how slick and how amazing this is and how cool. It was a great presentation they went through. They said that they are kind of partnering with AMD. They're going to be using SSD similar to the PlayStation 5. They've got extra bandwidth and they're doing some tweaking with all of the with the GDDR6 memory. I probably butchered that.
That's right.
But superb. And then there's that, so they're going to do all that. And they were just saying kind of it's going to be ultra low latency. And the talking heads were saying that they wanted it to kind of the loading screens to be a thing of the past. Yeah. So this next generation loading screens will be a thing of the past. And I think my favourite quote right at the end was, it's so awesome, it eats monsters. It eats monsters for breakfast was my kind of that was just amazing. I want that on the box itself. I think,
and also you forgot the one most important thing. Although yes, it has ultra low latency, and yes, it's using SSDs, but it's 8K compatible, James. 8K compatible. Yes. I mean, that's an inward joke for the Sparks.
Don't rage, Thomas.
But no, it did.
He's a very lovely, placid young man. And then
just because you're really, 8K. Just because, as we'll get onto, you're really happy with Rare at the moment. I mean, there's not much you can say about it really. I think they had to do it because I think that Sony sort of put their camp out with the Spider-Man thing. So, I think that the Project Scorpio reveal a few years ago went down so well. And it sort of fitted into obviously what we'll come on to next, which was xCloud. I think it fitted in really well because the way when he started it, he said about our next generation content, xCloud, console streaming, and I think that it was part of a bigger presentation about how they're taking Xbox forward. So I think they had to do something about it. And it was nice. It's going to be good. It's going to be pre-ordered when it comes out, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think we both need to look at flights for next year to go to E3.
Yes, exactly. It's just going to be hands-on, playing with that. And it's just like, I did it this year, the Fan Fest. I applied for the Fan Fest.
Oh, okay.
Because they had so you can basically apply. But there was 3 lots of kind of lottery draws, but I never got in any of them. But they gave me a free month of Game Pass for not winning, so I felt really bad about that. But what was it? xCloud.
Yeah.
So what did you think of the xCloud announcement?
I thought that it was good. They didn't say available now. It's October, is it, or September? It's before Stadia. I know that.
October.
Yeah.
There's a preview coming in October.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they didn't go too hard on it because I don't think they can. They've already been quite open with it about what it's about. I did like their idea of they've been focusing on the blades and using the Azure cloud, and then your Xbox is in their server center, and their server centers are local to you because of Microsoft Azure. But then I did like the idea that actually you can make your own console your own streamer as well. So obviously, I think that's a really good idea, especially if you're in your own home or local to your system. What will be interesting on how your broadband affects that in respects of if you've got a low upload, like I have a terrible upload speed here. So this recording from last week, which was 2.5 hours long of the pod, I think we finished the pod at about 10 o'clock, and I think it was still uploading at 7:30 the next morning. I get about 20 down, and I get about 0.7 up. So that will be interesting, I think, to see where if your console in your network and you haven't got a great upload speed. But I think it's brilliant. I mean, as we said last week, we've both signed up to Stadia. I'm gonna, without a shadow of a doubt, sign up to xCloud. And I just think it's what I've always wanted. I want to be able to, play Halo in my house, save my progress, and play it on my Xbox. Get my Xbox achievements, get my Xbox, the quests. So the amount of times I'm sitting on site, and we're having a bit of banter on the WhatsApp group, and you've put up on the WhatsApp, the new quests are up, and it's blah blah blah, and I'm like, I'm just having a sandwich and a cup of coffee now. I could actually dip in and probably do that, and I will be able to, hopefully.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that will just be, that kind of future. I'm really interested in it. As you said, they were both kind of in Stadia. I think the interesting thing about kind of xCloud is obviously you've got from your console, that's going to be free.
Yeah.
But then they're going to charge you for the blades. So that's the kind of difference between the models. So it's like, do you want this free version, which is the streaming from your console, or the version that they're going to charge you and play? So there'll be, we've already got Game Pass Ultimate, which we'll get to in a moment because that was a fantastic deal. But there will be a charge on top of this to use their Azure platform. So that's going to be the difference between the two. But I think if you're kind of out and about all the time, or you kind of want to use it, then having that kind of blade option will probably be better. One of the real interesting things that I heard Phil Spencer talk about after the show was that you could and I loved when he was saying it because he kept looking off, almost you could see a sea of PR guys going, don't say it, but you could potentially rent your Xbox.
Yeah.
So while you're not using your Xbox, you could actually put, similar to folding on PlayStation 2 or 3, you could actually put your Xbox CPU into the cloud to let other people basically stream their games, not your games, but their games off of your Xbox.
Okay.
And you're just throwing it in. And I think there'll be like kind of maybe Microsoft points or quests or things like that would be kind of ticked off. So I thought, you go away on holiday, I go on holiday. Most of the time I kind of leave some things kind of running just so it's patching. I'm doing the Skybox I'll leave on, and maybe an Xbox. You could just leave that for like people to kind of just use your CPU. And then when you come back, you've got some shiny points waiting. Again, Phil was saying that's not going to happen in October, but that's something far down the line. And he was just constantly eyeing the guys to the left who were just shaking their heads going, why do we let this person do interviews? But I thought the whole kind of yeah. And then they had there at the Microsoft show, they had Hellblade, and they had Hellblade, Forza and Halo 5 playable there. So, and what they were doing was they were linking with a USB cable. They were linking the devices, the smartphones, smart tablets, to the controller. Yeah. So instead of having the Bluetooth, which obviously in E3, when everyone's kind of walking around, you've got all those phones doing all of that. Probably a Bluetooth is not the great thing to use. So they kind of linked it up as well. That's obviously going to reduce latency as well. And they were letting people, and so far, the different comments that I've seen, people are saying it's really good. Saying it's really good. Like there was the best use, I think, or the best kind of report I heard was that someone could do active reloads in Gears of War.
Yeah.
So they got that little window. So if you can hit that little window on something that's being streamed, then they've solved it, basically.
Well, did you hear Phil? Yeah, I think you did hear it because you listened to Major Nelson's, didn't you? And he did the pre-show interview with Phil.
Yes, the 20-minute kind of pre-show.
Yeah, that was funny. I went out for my Saturday run, and I'm like, oh, Major Nelson, put that on. I thought, right, this will keep me going for a good 45 minutes. And like 20 minutes into my run, it was like, oh, and I'm frantically
you just turned around and slowly walked home.
I'm frantically like trying to change the podcast on my watch, which is not easy when you try and do a run. But no, he was saying they were Microsoft's was that someone like Namibia or someone like that. They were doing their not Xbox, but doing their getting people online, some of these African places where they don't have access to the internet. And he was out there on behalf of Microsoft and, helping them with what they do, where they fund it. And he was saying that they were showing these people where they can go into like this building or this big vehicle, and they can watch videos on computers, which is stored locally in the drive. And then there's a button there that says go online. And Phil had the great idea of trying to play xCloud in the middle of Africa on a really slow connection. And he said, although you couldn't play it, it was working. It was I was talking to my server back in America. This is my dedicated server that we've set up so we can test it. And you could see the frames kicking in. You could see the game loading. He said, so what you'll be able to do when we get server farms more local to Africa, or we use the server farms in South Africa and places like that, is just amazing. And I think even he was astonished that on a very poor connection in the middle of Africa, he could use xCloud.
Yeah, that's just incredible, isn't it? That is just holy moly.
I can't wait. You won't get me off. You won't be able to do any work. It'll be what have you played this week section of the podcast will go on for 2 hours. Well, on the xCloud I played this, and on Stadia I played this, and on my PlayStation I played this, and then when I got back home I played this on my Xbox. It'll be like life would just be gaming.
But one of the cool things that kind of Phil was talking about in this interview afterwards, that one of the usage for this is, say for instance, right, like right now, the Forza Horizon expansion pack that we'll get onto in just a moment has come out, right? So say for instance, for some reason your Xbox hasn't downloaded that, you got 5.8 gig, or as before, Red Dead Redemption never downloaded, so you had 100 gig to download. You could actually jump onto xCloud and start playing that right now, and then because there's no loading, that it will just jump you straight into that game. You just play it, and then suddenly when your Xbox goes right, ready to play, that's
your
it.
Progress
you just save, and then close that down, go over to your Xbox, and then start playing it in 4K. And that's just like, because for me, I was playing Rage 2, and I took it over to the smaller TV because Nicola was playing on the big TV, and I hadn't installed it on that Xbox, so I had to then wait for 46 gig to download, which luckily my broadband's quite fast, but it still took a while, so I ended up just playing something else. But I could have just jumped onto xCloud, started playing that, and then just off I went, and then when it was ready, I could then just kind of get the full Bifta version, and that is a really good application, I think, of xCloud for us guys who like the kind of big shiny.
Definitely, I think that is a unique selling point for that, and I think that's what's quite good in respects of. I mean, some people will argue, well, okay, with things like Stadia, you wouldn't be doing that anyway. But as I found out here, I'm going to struggle probably to get 1080 Stadia. So actually, I still want the console. The most powerful, computer console sitting in my rack, giving me the best quality on my nice big screen TV. So not having to worry on streaming. But then when I'm out and about, or I'm on holiday, I can take the xCloud with me and interact with my own console. But I definitely like that. I mean, I think I jumped into Battlefield the other night, and there was an update because I hadn't been in there for a while. So you just sit and wait, or you just go and flick around. So, but no, I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm looking forward to the next 6 months of this year. Again, don't want to get rid of it, but I'm really looking forward to the next 6 months of this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the next couple of years, with the new consoles coming out, with the potential of a new Switch and all that sort of stuff, it's definitely going to be expensive, but really cool, and it's just like, so, but it's going to be good fun. So that was all the kind of tech around that. Now, this Xbox Wire article, I'll stick a link in the show notes, has then a list of games, because what they did do was we had, as I said before, we had a whole host of games that were all kind of had that little flash up in the bottom saying, free with Game Pass. And there was 30 of the 60 games were all free with Game Pass, making Game Pass just that go-to subscription service at the moment. And what they also announced while we're talking about Game Pass is Game Pass Ultimate. So Game Pass Ultimate gives you what you can do right now, Matt and I already did it in the kind of early adopters program, but we merged our Game Pass and our Xbox Live subscriptions together. Not Matt and I's, but we just your own kind of. We didn't. Matt and I didn't pool our stuff together, but we just kind of did our. So I took my Game Pass and my Xbox Live, squished them together, turned them into Xbox Live Ultimate or Game Pass Ultimate, and then I'm now good until 2021.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have Scarlet by the time that I need to redo it. Matt was 2022, I think, and so that's kind of all done. And with that, what you're getting is obviously Game Pass. You're getting Xbox Live. You're also getting Game Pass for PC as well, and some of the games that were announced, like Gears 5, you're also getting that early. So if you're in the Game Pass Ultimate, you don't have to now download those Ultimate editions that we did with like Forza Horizon to get those 3 or 4 days early. Being in the Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate program gets you access to those games, so like Gears 5 are 4 days early or early access, as well as a bunch of kind of pre-order stuff. And I just thought that was fantastic. And I think it's going to work out right now. Like I say, I'm up until 2021. It's £1 right now if you want to try it out, but I think it's going to probably be about $14.99 a month or something like that.
I can't remember. I want to say 14. Yeah, I think it was $14.99 because I tried to do it afterwards because I hadn't got around to doing it, and also because I've got the gaming PC for work. Again, I'm inverted commas for work. I'm probably going to take advantage of this because it means that I can play out and about on that as well until xCloud comes out. But yeah, I did go in. Eventually, got in the following day. But it's a nominal fee. Okay, it's another subscription, and we do a lot of subscriptions these days. But yeah, I'm just glad they did it. There was a few rumours going around that they were going to do it as a separate thing, as though it was going to be Game Pass for PC, Game Pass for Xbox, and a few people were kicking off, going, "Well, you know, I've got both," and blah blah blah. So whether it was their plans right from the beginning, but it's great because they're now like Xbox. Download the new dashboard for the PC that they showed off on Inside Xbox, and you're good. Your console, your PC, you're gaming online.
I just think it's fantastic. You know, it is just that go-to subscription. Like I say, I've said it before, but anyone who's kind of jumping or hasn't jumped into an Xbox yet, and because maybe you've been playing over on PlayStation, you get that. All you need to do is just buy that Game Pass, and then you're just good to go. And I think I said on the kind of WhatsApp group, you know, I have a couple of friends at work who didn't even know about it. They have Xbox, and they didn't know about Game Pass, you know, and I just kind of told them about it, and it was just, you know, you can just go bananas with the amount of kind of games that are in there. And then, speaking about games, we did get some Windows 10 PC exclusive titles, such as Age of Empires 2 got a definitive edition. There were some that were kind of crossing both Xbox and PC. Most of them were. But Microsoft Flight Simulator, I thought, was the biggest surprise coming to Xbox.
That looked
One.
Stunning. Absolutely
It looks amazing.
I have no interest in flight simulators whatsoever, but that is downloading because that just graphically looks absolutely stunning.
But with Game Pass, like you say, you just download it, have a fly around, you know, crash into the Golden Gate Bridge by mistake, and then go, right, I can't play that, but it looked amazing, you know. And I just thought that was just absolutely fantastic. So we've got Age of Empires, which is kind of a 4K Ultra HD reimagining of that game. I was hoping that was going to be coming out on Xbox One, but it's not. It's just coming out on Windows 10. Yeah. Battletoads are back.
Yes.
Battletoads, they showed Battletoads. So what t-shirt was he wearing? He was wearing, Double Fine. He was wearing a Psychonauts t-shirt, which we'll get to in a moment. Yeah. So, Dialer Studios and Rare have been working together, and they have got Battletoads, and it looks fun. Yeah. Again, this is going to be coming to Game Pass. This is going to be Xbox Game Pass, I believe. I would think so.
No, it's
Rare
not.
is involved.
Looking on the document, it's got Battletoads Xbox One, and then when I look at some of the others, like Crossfire, first to console on Xbox One, and then it's got Xbox Game Pass, so it doesn't look like it's coming to Game Pass.
But Bleeding Edge, which is a little bit down, that's definitely come to Game Pass, because I remember that coming up, and that hasn't got it either. So I'm just... We'll do some fact checking on that, but Battletoads looks great. It just looks like it's really good fun. So like I say, there's couch co-op as well for Battletoads, so which could be bonkers and hilarious. So that just looks really, it's side scrolling still, and they have a really nice art style on that. So that was kind of Battletoads. The next game I was super excited for, and that was Blair Witch.
That was, I'm watching this going, I'm not sure about this. As in, like, this looks scary, and I'm like, and then you're sort of okay, this looks familiar, and then it just stopped, and then came out of Blair Witch, and you were like, holy moly, they've redone Blair Witch 10 years after it, but it looked stunning and absolutely stunning.
It looks so good. And that moment where you were in that cabin and then you saw that guy kind of facing the wall, I just remember that from the first movie, and I was like, it's Blair Witch, because I thought maybe it was like Alan Wake or something like that. But it was, it looks really good. It looks, again, that's kind of coming to Game Pass. So a lot of these games are. We'll stop saying that. But a lot of those games are. But that just looks really cool. So it's a first person kind of walk 'em around, but it looks like it could be super scary and super exciting, especially like headphones on. This thing's going to be really kind of like jump scares all over it.
That's the 30th of August, so the nights are getting dark then as well. So, sorry to depress people with that one. But, that should be good.
That's not too far away, really, is it? It's not too far, it's like, a couple of months
now.
and change. And then next up, I thought was a really cool looking game, which was Bleeding Edge by Ninja Theory. So this was a kind of a multiplayer kind of team, online kind of supercharged. It just looked real fun. It just looked, the character models that they had. This is a game that I'm going to want when this comes out, whenever it does come out. I'm just looking for a day when this comes out. This is going to just be jump in, it's on Game Pass, and just kind of give it a go and see what it's like. It could hook you. It could hook you like Apex, or you could just go, I'm done. But it just had a really cool art style and it just looked like a ton of fun.
I saw, catching up with Inside Xbox, sort of like last night and this morning and this afternoon. It wasn't that long. I was just doing it in hits. They were talking to I can't think of her name now, the lady who was on stage from Ninja Theory, and they were showing it a little bit more. And it just looked not cartoony, but it looked quite fun, and the players had their different technical abilities, and it just looked like it could be, a group of friends online, having a right old laugh, playing together. It just looked something different, and it was just a nice art style.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of something different, 650 million players are playing a game that I've never heard of, which was Crossfire. And so, they made a big deal. I think this is for the South Korea kind of audience and the kind of new territories that Phil is going out, because, if you just get 10% of that 650 million, if you just get 10% of that, you're getting a big bonus, Phil. So that was an interesting move. So Crossfire X is coming. It's going to be free to play, first person shoot 'em up. It didn't light my fire, but I could see a lot of people loving that, and I can see that there's obviously an audience for it if they've got 650 million players.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like it's got more than Fortnite. Yeah. And then I'm gonna skip Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk.
You've skipped Borderlands as well.
Borderlands is a given. Yeah, Borderlands is awesome. It looks fun.
But they didn't announce UK. I don't know. I think I'm blowing your trumpet here, because I think you got this in respects of you guessed that they were going to release a DLC for Borderlands 2, which will carry us into Borderlands 3.
Yes, I think I heard a rumour, but I'll take that as my prediction.
Take it as a prediction.
Well, I'll need to do some scoring of those. So that's out already. Unfortunately, like I said, Nicola's playing Horizon Zero Dawn, so she hasn't got time to play Borderlands right now. We had a whole load of others. Forza Horizon. Now we've talked about it. We've talked about it. We've skipped around it, and Stuart is singing, which is always a bad thing. See what you've done, Playground Games. You're making Stuart sing.
The ibuprofen, the drugs are starting to kick in.
But I loved it. I just thought the reveal trailer. So Forza Horizon have a Lego Speed Championship expansion, which is out now, and I don't know why I do it, but my phone just blipped up with Matt, and he has already unlocked all of the roads in Lego Valley, which I I just like to go on record and say that I hate Matt Thomas. There you go. So this is that's just ruined it all. But anyway, it's just like Forza Horizon 4 Lego Speed Champions is the new expansion, and they've gone it's that, Hot Wheels expansion that they went for. It was that bonkers, bananas, awesome thing that Playground Games do, and they have built basically Lego Valley, which Matt has done all the roads on. They've done Lego Valley, which changes in the seasons as well. So they've got the seasonal, and they were showing on Inside Xbox that they had this ginormous kind of top-down view of Lego Valley map, and they kind of modelled like brick by brick, and it just looked incredible. So you've got that, and so basically you can so you have this Lego Valley completely made out of Legos, has that gorgeous Lego sound as you're kind of like crashing through all those bricks as you have done in all the Lego games. But you can then take your real world cars into Lego Valley. And vice versa. You can take a Lego Mini into the Cotswolds, which is just bananas. And as I say, it's out now. It's part of the Ultimate Edition, or it's $15.99 or $14.39 if you're in Game Pass, and is available now. And I cannot wait to play this. I am going to play this tomorrow night when I get home from work. A tough day tomorrow. When I get home from work, I'm going to just fire this up and then just kind of just enjoy the Forza Horizon Lego Speed Championship Edition. We didn't see this coming. I think Matt almost predicted it.
I'm just scrolling back through WhatsApp now, trying to find it, and I can't find it. But yeah, I think he did hit this nail straight on the head with this one. So congratulations to that. But
yes,
yeah, I mean, it's I'm going to stop looking now because my eyes are going blurry. It just looks. I mean, I think I saw that the old top-down map. They actually built that in Lego Creator. So the online, so one of the guys actually sat there for days upon end, just dropping all of these Lego bricks, as if they were creating a real Lego set, and it just looks stunning. Yeah. And as we were saying before the pod, I know there's few people out there going, "Oh, it's not a true Forza game. You've not listened to your fans." It is a true Forza game. They did Hot Wheels, for God's sake. This is what they do. They give us the base game, which we all love. Then they give us some DLC, like Fortune Island or like Storm Island before, and then they throw the curveball by giving us something that we weren't expecting. And I mean, it just looked brilliant. I mean, I knowingly went on this morning to look and see if it was there, and it came up saying, yes, it's been installed, but it's not unlocked till 6:00. So I'm probably gonna. Well, let's put it this way: the way my ankle feels at the moment, podding this, I don't think I'm going to be working tomorrow. So I think I'm going to be sitting at home playing this tomorrow with my foot up. So it just looked brilliant. What a fantastic addition! Bit of fun. I cannot wait. I'm going to be so sorely tempted not to start this up when we finish the pod. But hats off, brilliant.
I just think it was just absolutely fantastic. I love the idea that you can take that they can go as they did with Hot Wheels there, because Forza Horizon is that kind of fun version of Forza, but it's still Forza. Yeah. So this Lego Valley enables them to just go a little bit crazy. So they're going to have some loops. I noticed in the trailer there were some high banking kind of curves. Yeah. So we had some amazing kind of spirals in the Hot Wheels one. This is exactly what we didn't see coming, but what it was coming. This is just amazing. Yeah. This was that. What about if we do Lego? And then getting that IP must have been a bit of a stretch as well, so that would be an interesting kind of maybe an article on Edge or a documentary just trying to figure out how they did that. But I just would love to see the kind of making of this, because it's stunning when they started doing it, because they started in the reveal. You had Forza. I was like, oh, here they come. It's Forza. This is going to be cool. And then they just stopped at a crossroads, and then that song that you've been singing. And then there was just a whole bunch of like Lego characters just came past. And I was like, no,
I like the fact was that the Everything is Awesome started playing, and then the pickup trucks came past, and then you had the McLaren Senna, which they recreated in bricks. that came past with the Lego character looking out the window, looking at the real McLaren Senna with that look on his Lego face, like, nice car, mate. And it was just, I mean, it's great. It's such a good idea, and it's what I wanted. I heard some rumours that they were going to update Motorsport instead, which I have nothing against Motorsport, but I just love Forza Horizon, and and actually I'm not saying this because he's unlocked all the roads, but I'm not going to jump into this and go hell for leather, because I think I slightly ruined my Forza Horizon 4 by trying to race ahead and get all the roads, which I did. It wasn't my fault there was a glitch and didn't give me the last two.
You didn't unlock all of them.
Shut up. But I did find that I completed Forza Horizon 4 really quickly, and I sat there and went, I got so het up in the race to do things quickly that I forgot to sit back and look at it. So I do honestly think I'm going to sit back and look at this a bit more and just play this at my own pace and my own enjoyment.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, I still love firing up Forza Horizon kind of every week and just kind of doing some of the challenges. I don't do all of them. Sometimes I go, oh, I really would love that car. And then I'll go through that. But it's just quite nice just to kind of just like tick those off. So that was Forza Horizon 4 Lego Speed Championship expansion. And as you said, they did have, was that a McLaren Senna that they had recreated in Lego on the stage as well, which was, by all accounts, of course it would be, it was heavier than the original. Than the actual Senna, and it was just, but you could sit in it. People have been sitting in it during E3 and getting pictures and stuff like that, and that was just absolutely gorgeous.
They had the Lego seat in it, and then they had a proper McLaren Senna seat in it as well.
Right, a nice comfy seat as well.
Did you ever watch that Channel 4 program about Lego, about the guys that created like the train in Covent Garden and things like that?
Yes, I did. Builders. Yeah, Lego. Yeah,
that's my dream job. Just being able to be a Lego master builder and just build some of these massive things for Christmas fairs and all this lot. So no, that was really good. And then staying on the Lego, we got the Skywalker Saga was announced.
Oh yes,
which looks very, very good. It's a playthrough of all 9 Star Wars Saga films. In a brand new sort of all squished together Lego video game. So that looked really, really good. I didn't see a release date on that, but that will definitely be going in the purchase bin.
I think it just said 2020, didn't it? It just said, so it's probably going to come out after the movie. But yeah, that just looks amazing. That just looks incredible. I wondered at one point whether they would do like Rogue One or something like that. They'd throw some Rogue One content in there as well. But it's just that's because they did bring out a Last Jedi game.
Yes.
And they're going to be bringing out Rise of the Skywalker game as well. So that just looked amazing. That made me, for some reason, tear up during that conference. I don't know why. I got kind of a bit of emotional
coming to an end.
when I heard that.
Coming to an end, Anthony.
Exactly. That's it.
Star Wars.
It's my childhood all over.
Coming to an end.
And then next up was Gears 5. Don't call it Gears of War. We call it Gears 5. And Gears 5 came out, which was really cool. They showed a bit more of Gears 5, but what they did show was the escape mode.
Yes.
So this is a new mode in Gears 5, which basically you get into the hive, you plant a toxic bomb, and then you have to get the hell out of there. So it's not kind of like, oh, I'm gonna hide here for cover. I'm gonna do that. You have to get out before that bomb goes, and you've got hordes and hordes and hordes in your way. And I just thought that was like a really good idea, because obviously what they've got is you have single player, or you have like kind of campaign, you have multiplayer, you've got hordes, you've now got escape, and then you also can build your own escape maps as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I was again listening to an interview today, and what I thought was quite interesting with that was that you can build your own, but you've got to play it. So you can build your own challenge, let's say, but before you can, I don't know, I suppose going back to Forza, in a little way with Forza, when you created your own racetrack in Forza Horizon, you then created it by racing it, and then you had to race it before you could publish it. From what I understand with this as well, is you can create your own escape, but then you've actually got to play it before you then can share it with your friends or share it online. So you can't make it so hard it's not achievable. which I thought was a good way, because otherwise people would just go in and do it like the ultimate. You can't beat this, but you have to be able to beat it to be able to give it to other people to challenge. So I thought that was a really, really good idea.
And that's what you have to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you have to do in Mario Maker, isn't it? Yeah. So you have to kind of, like you say, you have to prove that it can be beat before you do it. And then they showed a little bit of Gears Pop.
Oh, no. Go back. You missed the best bit. Best bit about Gears 5.
Oh.
And ironically, as we pod, I've got Sky One on in the background, and the film's just come on. Third film's just come on. But they, you can get the Terminator Dark Fate character pack, which adds the Terminator T-800 exoskeleton and Sarah Connor from the upcoming film Terminator Dark Fate. Have you seen the trailer to that film?
No.
Oh, mate, you've got to go and watch the trailer. It is...
Right.
If you like Terminator, it is like Sarah Connor comes back and kicks ass.
Right.
I even showed my wife the trailer, even showed Kate the trailer, and she's like, "Is that yeah? Is that yeah?" And it's But then when I saw that and I saw the T-800, I'm like, oh, you can play Gears 5 and you can play as the Terminator. That's it. I'm done. Sign me up. Ultimate, here I come.
Nice. But that you don't need to buy the Ultimate, because that comes with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Edition.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, I bought my Ultimate subscription.
And then Gears Pop.
Yeah.
Gears Pop. They showed Gears Pop, and they basically I think you can pre-order now on the Android and iOS. You can kind of pre-order. They showed that. That looks like it's weird. And even though they didn't show it, they said that Gears Tactics.
Yes.
Is still coming, and Gears Tactics is one of those games I want on Xbox One. Maybe it will do at some point, because that sounds like it could be a ton of fun. So then let's get to the big ones. And the big one is Halo Infinite.
Yeah. That was
so they showed some Halo Infinite, and they showed that kind of. In 2020, Master Chief returns, and I just thought that cinematic trailer was incredible.
Yeah, it looked stunning. It was in-game engine, I think they said on it. So,
yep.
So
Slip Space Engine, isn't it? I think they're calling it.
But that just looks great. I mean, it just started off in a carrier with a pilot, and then Master Chief is floating outside. He comes inside, and it just looked typical Halo. Just looks nice and shiny, and and the fact that it's going to be a day and date release with Scarlet, that's, as I think I've said before, Halo on the Xbox, the original OG Xbox, that's what got me into that genre of game. So to be able to go forward, what would it be, 19 years, I think? To go forward 19 years since the original was launched and play, the 19-year-old in sort of development, new Halo game on that new shiny console. But I cannot wait. It looks stunning. I can't wait to see more of it next year.
Yeah. And then while we're talking about Halo, for anyone jumping into Sea of Thieves this week, and this pod should be going up on Saturday, you've still got some time. Anyone jumping into Sea of Thieves will get a Spartan ship. And this thing looks gorgeous. It's got a Spartan flag, Spartan sails, and then the kind of figurehead at the front is Master Chief. And that is just, oh my God, it just looks amazing. I said to James that when we're sailing, I need to be able to hum the Halo theme, like ba 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 ba. That's what you're going to hear from me as we're sailing across the seas in that ship. That is just amazing. So you have to kind of log into either Adventurer or Arena over the next week, and then when you do that, I think they said within 72 hours it'll be added to your customizations. So you just have to log some time in, and you get the gorgeous Spartan ship.
It does make me wonder what they're going to do next, because obviously, reading down the list, Minecraft Dungeons, it does make me wonder if Rare are working on a Minecraft ship, because that would be really good. All pixelated as well, so all blocky. That would just be brilliant. I mean, that would be stunning to see a blocky Minecraft ship on the gorgeous seas of Sea of Thieves with those rolling oceans. I think that would be quite cool. So
it would look weird and bananas, but awesome at the same time. I did notice, I think in Forza Horizon, there was a whole beach full of pirate ships, and I was hoping that was like a call out to Sea of Thieves as well. That would be awesome if you had that. So there was they showed a little bit of Ori and the Will of the Wisp. We got a look at Outer Worlds from Obsidian. But I think the thing that stole the show, and has potentially stole E3, was that Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and they showed it. That was kind of cinematic kind of gameplay. Yeah. It wasn't real kind of like gameplay, was it? It was all kind of like cinematic. But it came out, and what they're showing and what that game looks like it's going to be is just absolutely incredible. So they kind of came out, and then they showed this cinematic, and then they kind of cut. Your character then kind of fell back. Everyone's probably seen it. They kind of cut. And then you heard someone saying, like, get up, samurai, we've got a city to burn. And the camera pans up, and it's Keanu bloody Reeves. It was Keanu Reeves is going to be your buddy in Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. So the crowd, the internet, the sparks, we all went bananas at this point that this was kind of happening. And then to top it off, Keanu Reeves comes out on stage as well. In a kind of really bemused, what am I doing here? Who are these people? Kind of way, but he came out and just like kind of just was awesome. He was just so cool and so humble at the same time.
That's what I quite like, because I think that you look at the statistics of game media and how much some of the Call of Duties and the GTAs are physically making in cold hard cash, and then with Kojima using Norman Reedus. You're seeing, and then there's which we'll get on to, Ghost Recon using, I can never remember his name now, the Punisher.
John Bethany.
So there's obviously a lot more of this, but I mean, how,
and his dog as well.
Well, very well behaved dog. Keanu Reeves, I mean, at the moment, he's the money. I mean, like, John Wick 3 John Wick films are phenomenal. They're some of my favourite films.
I've never seen them.
You?
I've actually never seen them. No, I've never seen them.
If you've got an aversion to a puppy being killed, don't watch the first one. It makes you feel really sad. But they
I've just seen episode 4 of Chernobyl. I do not have an aversion anymore to puppies being killed.
I'm not going to that yet. But it's John Wick films are brilliant, and they all take place over, although they've been years apart, they all take place over a couple of weeks in time of the 3 films. But they're very good, very action-based films. So for them to land him doing this, which was in what was already going to be my game of the year, 2020, without a shadow of a doubt. Mm-hmm. The only downside to it is 2020. I think it was March, is it? I don't know if it says on here. It's March. I think it's March 2020. So it's
16th of April.
Okay. So if a little bit was like, I've got to wait till next year. But But yeah, I said it last week. That was one of the things that I really wanted to see more of. I couldn't have been more excited when that came on. So
he came out, announced the release date, which I thought was just quite cool. Told someone in the crowd that they were awesome, and then they took it from there. And I just thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really good reveal, and that game just looks. I want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see some more gameplay footage, because I'm sure it's moved on since last year as well. It definitely looks more shiny. It looks better than anything else.
It just looks,
that was shown. It's just something outer worldly about this. It's quite interesting. While we're talking about this, we'll probably get onto it a bit later. But CD Projekt Red are doing magic there, and then they're also doing magic on the Switch, because they're bringing The Witcher to the Switch, The Witcher 3 to the Switch, which is kind of running in. I think it's like 420p on the handheld, and 720, or 540 in the handheld, 720. But still, that's a big task. So, but Cyberpunk 2077 was amazing, and I cannot wait to just kind of jump in and play that game. That is a couple of days off work, I think, when that comes out. Which is good, because my holiday at work roads around from April. It's April to April, so I've just got a fresh batch of holiday, so I can abuse it.
So your holidays are going to be used up by Cyberpunk.
Exactly, and we've got some big projects at the work where we're going to be working weekends, so I'll be kind of accruing some days as well, so I can just put some aside for Cyberpunk days. Was there anything else, Stu, that we needed to talk about on the Xbox One?
I think I'm just scrolling down now, and
obviously we've got Inside Xbox that I want to talk about, because there were some big things on that.
Was there? I'm not sure that was. There was obviously updates to State of Decay, but one of the things that I said last week on the pod, I wanted to see something different. and I wanted to see some new IPs or some new differences. And there was a game called 12 Minutes. And I know,
Right.
listening to like Kind of Funny podcast, I think when Gerard Petty was on there was a game called Minute, I think it was, which you kept on replaying this minute. So pretty similar, but basically, I'll read what it says here. It's a romantic evening takes a wrong turn when police detectives break into a house, accuse your wife of murder, and knocks you unconscious. In a heartbeat, you are immediately returned to the start of the evening before it even happened again and again. A real-time interactive thriller where you need to use your knowledge of what's about to happen to change the outcome and break the 12-minute loop. So it was a top-down, because you sort of saw them, they were having dinner, and it was a top-down. Then the doors kicked in, police come in, she's arrested, and then boom, you're back to the beginning. But you can remember what happened. So, you know, your wife comes in, honey, why are you crying? And don't get the door. And it just, you replay these 12 minutes, you've just got to keep on finding little snippets of information on, okay, why are they doing this? And they showed you a couple of scenarios of where you go from having dinner, then you're watching TV. So you're thinking, okay, this has gone on longer. Then there's another one when you're in bed. And it's like, okay, this is still going on longer. So obviously something's delaying her from being arrested. Or I just thought it was brilliant. It's exactly what I wanted. Something a little bit different.
Yes, no, it looks absolutely fantastic. I love the art style as well. The art style kind of almost looked like a kind of Mike Biffle kind of game. I thought it was going to be a Mike Biffle game when they were kind of showing it. But it was very cool. It was very cool indeed. It was really it was quite, like I say, you were quite taken back by it. It was quite stunning, both kind of in its content and also visually as well.
I think it was Annapurna Interactive is the developer, but I'm really looking forward to that. So so on to Inside Xbox, which was a couple of days later, was it?
Exactly. I think either a day later or a couple of days later we had Inside Xbox. It was about an hour, kind of going through, having chats with everyone that was there on stage. Which was really cool. But the biggest news, the biggest and the best news was that finally Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise gets a 4K, gets Xbox One X enhanced treatment. So we have got like Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise in 4K, and it looks glorious. The great thing about the Xbox, about the main one, was that I got home, I think I watched the Nintendo event, and then I fired it up, and it was just sitting there. So it already updated, it already got its content pack, it already got all of that, so it was just sitting there. So not only Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, that's the one that matters, you've also got Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, Cameo, Perfect Dark, both Perfect Darks, as well as Viva Pinata and also Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, have all got that Xbox One X enhanced gorgeousness. And I must admit, it really does make a difference. On those pinatas, you really see kind of the detail now on those that were obviously there, but they were scaled down. I want to talk to James more about it, kind of like, so I'll grill him next time he's on the pod. But it was just so good just to see those, and I just fired up my garden, and both Nicola and I just sat there, and we were just like, because Nicola was saying, I want to play Horizon. She was like, but how long do you think it would take me to speed through Viva Pinata? And I was like, it's going to take you about 20 hours. And we were just going through kind of like what we could do. But I've still got some achievements that I can be checking off, but this just makes a 360 game look like a game that's just come out now, and Viva Pinata right now just looks absolutely stunning. So if you haven't played Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, it's the perfect time to jump in, because this game is just, it's amazing, it's fantastic, but now it was stunning before, but now it's even more so, and it just looks incredible. And I just think that the work that back compat team and the Xbox One X enhanced team are doing is just magic. It's just, they're taking these games and really refreshing it. And it wasn't just that whole rare pack. I have jumped into Banjo Nuts and Bolts, and that looks really shiny. There's some that looks really good.
I did with Nuts and Bolts. I did after hearing that. I know James was on the WhatsApp group or something the other week, going, "I'm really getting back into banjo nuts and bolts." And in hindsight now, I'm looking at this going, I wonder if he was playing the scaled up version of it, or if he knew that this was coming.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. And it's just really, but it looks so good. And I jumped into Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie. They look great, for an N64 game that suddenly goes up to 4K. There's something about that, the textures and everything that just looks so smooth. But they also announced that there were some more original Xbox One X games, including all of the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell games. So you've got Splinter Cell, Pandora's Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, Double Agent, all of those, which are original Xbox games, they have now kind of come forward. And they also announced a whole bunch of 360 titles, including the 1,000 gamer score Peter Jackson, King Kong.
I was trying to remember which one that was. I was going to ask you, but I was trying to remember which one it was, because they said, it was an easy 1,000.
Yeah, it's a really easy 1,000. I think the only one that was easier than that was a game called Avatar, and that was really. I remember buying that from CEX and then kind of getting my 1,000. Like literally, you come out, you just keep pressing A, and you just goes pink, 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 done 1,000 points. I was like, yes. At this point, it was a race at that point to get score. And then there was another one that really I was really quite interested to try and jumping in again because I really enjoyed it. And they had the classic Far Cry and also Far Cry Predator. But there was another one that really kind of is annoying me that I can't remember it now. It was the one that had Andy Serkis as the character. It was like a reimagining of Monkey. I'm sure people are screaming into their headphones right now saying it was this, but I can't remember what it was, so I'll just carry on. So they've got backwards compatibility, but what they did say with all of that, Enslaved. Right. Thank you very much, Brain. So with all of that, they said that this is the last of the back compat for the Xbox One, because now what they're doing is focusing on Scarlet. And so they're focusing on bringing Xbox One X. Yeah. Yeah, so they're still working on 360 titles. They're still working on OG Xbox titles and also Xbox One X or Xbox One titles, but they're working on Scarlet now. So I think it's perfect. Yeah. I think they've done above and beyond, and since they announced this some two and a half years ago, I think we've got amazing titles that have come out. And of course, I'm happy because now at least we've got Viva Pinata, so I'm happy for that.
So when's the 8K re-resed? Viva Pinata coming out.
Oh, stop it, James! Would you stop it?
Also, when are you going to Twycross then? Because on the last week's pod, you said that you were going to take them donuts and give them all a kiss.
No, I said if we got a Viva Pinata 3, they get that. Okay. They didn't even do this. This is the Wizards in Seattle, not those lazy bones in Twycross who are just doing their pirate game. This is
you're never getting it now.
They don't get hugs and donuts until I see a 3. So just remember that, guys. And then, so as well as that, we got gamertag updates. You can now put emojis in your gamertag, so you can now be Chessman UK, Aubergine,
I think
Eggplant.
It was, I think it was that if you, obviously there are multiple languages around the world, and obviously I think is it an umlaut in Germany? So you can actually put the characters above your words now. And also I thought was quite interesting, I think it's quite interesting, but if you want a gamer tag and your gamer tag is taken, so they use Major Nelson as an example. So if you wanted the gamer tag Major Nelson, you couldn't get it. So it would give you the gamer tag of Major Nelson 367. So you can still have that gamer tag, but you can have it display as Major Nelson rather than Major Nelson 365 or whatever I just said. So you can still, I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about that, because it's always, there is only one Major Nelson, there is only one Chessman, there is, and it's like people can use your gamer tag. Okay, it will still get distinguished as not, but Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I think it's the same as Steam, isn't it?
That's
I think
what they
Steam
said.
does that, I think. So it's like...
But I think the main thing was they wanted to open it up to more languages. So if your language has a little a comma above a word or something like that, then you can put that in to make it more unique to your territory.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And then the final big announcement from Inside Xbox was that XO19 is coming to London. It's coming to London, baby. So it's coming in, did they say when?
November.
November 2019, the right time when it's not too cold in London. November 9, 2019, XO19 is coming. We're going to have more information in August at Gamescom, but it's coming. So that's just fantastic news. So, because the last one was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was brilliant. It was, I'm going to try everything to try and get tickets for this. So, it will just be, it was the Mexico one was great. It carries on that hype. Everybody loves E3. It gives you another E3. What they've been doing with Inside Xbox is brilliant. So that later part of the year we'll have some more holiday, as the Americans call it, some more holiday clips, hopefully, of some of the big games coming out, and more information on things like Cyberpunk, hopefully. So yeah, cannot wait. Hopefully we can find our way into the group.
Well, at that point, like the previews for xCloud will already be out as well, won't they? Yeah. They will already be kind of, and so. But that just looks like, I was just very excited when they said that. I was expecting it to be somewhere else, but they have confirmed that it's going to be in London. They haven't given us an actual date or a location yet, but that's good enough for me. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, I totally agree. We should try and get to X. I mean, I wonder if it's going to be like FanFest for E3 when I entered the lottery. So you basically, with FanFest, what happens is you enter the lottery, and then so you filled out the form. How, are you going to go? Yes, all this sort of stuff. And then they then did 3 draws. They did the first 2, and then what they do is they give you something like 36 to 48 hours to confirm that you're going to go. If not, your ticket goes back into a pot, and then they do another draw later. Okay. So that's kind of what they do. So if they're going to do something like that, that would be really cool to just kind of go along to FanFest 2019.
Yeah, it's
or XO 2019.
It will be good. It will be hopefully very good.
So that was Microsoft. I think they had a really good showing. I thought Microsoft had a really good showing. I thought they did really well. I thought it's exactly, I think we were chatting just before the pod, I think Microsoft is exactly kind of what I would expect from a console, a almost end of the life cycle for that console. So we're a year, and this time next year we're going to be talking about Scarlet. So I think the games that they showed, it was a lot of 2020. I think that, there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited for, and with Game Pass, there's a lot of stuff that is excited for that I'm going to get for, quote unquote free.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna. I am an Xbox player. I'm more Xbox than PlayStation. But I just think that what Microsoft are doing, what they're just doing with the different branches, backwards compatible, I just think they're doing really good, and it's exactly what I wanted to see from the E3 presentation, and then follow that up with Inside Xbox, which just went a little bit more in detail into a few things and just tick those boxes. And I think it's a very, very exciting 18 months coming up.
And then next up, early hours of that morning, was Bethesda. And so Bethesda kind of came out their normal kind of very Bethesda way. They're very adult. They're going to drop a couple of F-bombs. They're going to be hard. They're going to be edgy. They're going to come out and kind of give us, and they started obviously with, they had to do it. Todd Howard came out and just kind of addressed the fact that, Fallout 76 was a hot mess.
The elephant in the room, as this article puts it.
Yes. And so they basically just said, and right now, I think as of podding, Fallout 76 is free to play.
I did go and download it because I thought, I might as well have a jump in and see what it's like.
Let me know. I think Steve quite liked it, didn't he? I think Steve was playing it.
I think a lot of people who have played it. I think it's a little bit. I'm trying to think of another game now, but it's a little bit like where it's just gradually built and built and built, and actually the community that are in there are very loyal to the game, and they've built a really good community. So, out of the negativeness that came of this, I think the players stuck with it, And then obviously Bethesda have carried on, listening to them, which is brilliant. Hats off, and they've continued it. So I think it's got a really good community now. And I think that it's potentially where they want the game to be, where it should have been in the word go.
Absolutely. So I think, the big announcements, I think, for that, to kind of make that kind of where they needed, was that they've put in kind of AI NPCs to start kind of bulking out the areas.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel so lonely. So they've got that in there. They also announced a new pack that's coming called Wastelanders, which looked quite interesting. I think if I would, like, as you say, if I was part of that community that are into Fallout 76, then this is obviously the refresh that they were looking for. It's the same with Destiny. It's that kind of extra content that they were kind of, they wanted, they needed. So that was quite cool. And then I think the biggest news that they introduced was that they're adding a Battle Royale to Fallout 76.
Which I think looked really, really... It was such a... Yeah, okay, it looked the death loop, as they've called it. It was the Ring of Fire, so it's the same sort of principle. But I quite like the fact that it was... Someone needs to run Vault... I'm trying to find it on here, but it was like, there isn't anybody running Vault, whatever number, Overseer for Vault 76.
Right.
So I think it's, rather than getting your chicken dinner, I think, it's an all-out fight for you to become the overseer of Vault 76. So I thought that was just a really clever way of taking that game and making it so very much Fallout, but in that type of genre.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, I was expecting more games. I was expecting Gears to have a Battle Royale, because I kind of, even more so than last year when we thought Battle Royale and everything this year, I thought, actually, do you know what? Because of Apex and things like that, I thought they might even go kind of all in. But Fallout 76 is getting that. So we have Battle Royale is coming out in later this summer, and then that Wastelanders expansion is coming out in the fall. So that is kind of all of that kind of Fallout 76 news. Like I say, they kind of came in, they did that. And then next up was Arcane's new game. So Arcane were the makers behind the game that was quite cool, Dishonored. Yeah. So their new game, which was called Deathloop.
Oh, okay, I'm getting confused. Right, yeah.
So they came out, and that looks like it's very stylized, very arcane. But they kind of went through kind of cutscenes and stuff like that. But that was very much an announcement trailer. That looked really cool. But I think the kind of thing that stole the show was Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal looked really cool. I played through the one 2017 Doom, or 2016. I played through that and really enjoyed that. And they're basically, Doom Eternal is coming out on November 22nd on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One, and is coming out. And they gave a nice kind of lengthy trailer, gave us a bit of gameplay, that kind of moment-to-moment gameplay, and I just thought it just looks more Doom, which I am very happy with. And there were some really cool sort of little new modes as well, kind of little kind of ways to kill and ways to chain, and there seemed to be like an extra jump as well, so it seemed like a lot of it was up in the air, but it just looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get into the first game, Doom 2016, as I think they're referring to it at the moment.
Now on Game Pass.
Yeah, I did play it, and actually, I can't remember if I must have bought it, but yeah, I mean, it did. I mean, Doom Eternal is a Doom game. It did look really good. They said they're going to release more information at DoomCon for the battle mode. So I think it is what people wanted, and the crowd were going crazy when they saw it. So I think it hopefully will be strengthen the Doom brand and carry on from where the last game kicked off.
Yeah, I can't wait to play this. I mean, last time, like I say, I think I boomeranged the last one. Or, actually, no, I didn't. What I did was, there was something in it that if you bought Doom, you got a pre-order for something. So I pre-ordered Doom, and I got early access to something. I can't remember what it was, but I got that. So I got that, and then I took it back to game. I think it was the last time I kind of walked into a game. So that was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. And then it came to Game Pass, and it got a 4K upgrade. So I kind of went back in and had a look, and it's just, oh god, that game is just so much fun. And I kind of quickly got into the mechanics where it's not a kind of hold back and shoot. It's a get in there, punch, snap, kind of doing that sort of stuff. And that's how you level up and get all of your health. And then next up was kind of Keanu was awesome. That was a fantastic moment. The lady from Tango Gameworks who came on and introduced Ghostwire for me was another moment. She was bonkersly awesome, and I just thought she was just adorable. You know, she was just so funny. She was just like, so she came on to announce Ghostwire Tokyo, and she was just great. She really got into the spirit of E3. She was enjoying herself and enjoying what she was just about to show everyone, and I just thought she was just amazing. She was fantastic.
It was. Across all the conferences, there were some really interesting characters, but yeah, she was a very funny character, and you didn't really get to see much of it, but the concept of it was just like, you know, okay, let's go back to my Xbox where I said, you know, the 12-minute thing. This just looked interesting in respects of you're in a world where people are just disappearing. So they were showing like people sitting on the bus, and all of a sudden their bodies would disappear and there'd just be their clothing. As a dog lover, the one that made me quite teary was the fact that you heard this dog whimpering and you use this dog leash with this pile of clothes next door to it. So obviously the dog stayed, but the owner disappeared. And then it's sort of like you saw this happening all over the place, and people disappearing on escalator. Then this this high heel shoe just came to the top and just rolled over, and then you saw there was a person that was still there. And you're sitting there going, this looks bonkers, but this looks really good. And I just hope I hope they can just carry on from this, because this has got me really intrigued as something that potentially could be quite different. And I really want this to be something a bit different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the trailer they showed was just kind of like rendered graphics, but every now and then I kept thinking, is this real world? Yeah. I kept thinking that they were kind of like splicing in kind of real world footage with like gaming footage, because it looked amazing. Yeah. You know, I just kept looking every now and then. And it wasn't like that you had the uncanny valley of someone kind of like the character models looked fantastic, and the way they moved. And I kept thinking, that's real. No, it's not. Yeah. She's just, and then it was just, my mind was just going all over the place. And it was fantastic. I am very interested in Ghostwire, and I want to know more.
Definitely. No, it did look stunning. And it was definitely one of my highlights from the show, without a shadow of a doubt.
And then we wrapped up Bethesda with Wolfenstein Youngblood, and they showed quite a kind of a big chunk of BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters, Jess and Soph, as they kind of jumped in and kind of worked through kind of Wolfenstein. And that's coming out very soon, isn't it? The Wolfenstein Youngblood. It's coming out, I think it's like August, September time. I think that's kind of one of the first kind of big games that are coming out.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, I think I might have skipped this, or I think I might have fallen asleep because I don't remember seeing this. I remember talking about Wolfenstein, because then did I get it right that they've got some of the new Colossus or something going to VR? They've got a VR game coming, I seem to remember. Either that or I was red wind up or something like that. But I'm sure they touch base on VR as well. But no, I mean, I've played the Wolfenstein New Colossus. I quite enjoyed it. I think I played it for some Chivos for a quest or something, I think, and I was like,
it's this month's quest. I think.
Is it? So it's definitely one of those games that I think I was playing, and then something else come along or something like that, and I'll go back to that, and I've not been back to it. But what I played, I really did like. So I'm guilty of not playing enough Wolfenstein stuff, but it does look like it's quite a good sort of genre of a genre of games.
So this basically, correction for me, this comes out in July. Okay. So this is going to be coming out on the 26th of July. So that's why I knew it was kind of quite soon, and it kind of follows on from the new Colossus. And obviously these are BJ Blazkowicz's daughters, but this time it's set in Paris.
Yeah.
And looks just stunning. You know, it looks absolutely incredible. I think the one thing about these games, and all of the Bethesda games, including Rage 2 as well, they also gave us some information about new stuff coming to Rage 2 as well. But all of this, all of those games, they really did look quite special. All of the Bethesda games.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was slightly disappointed with Bethesda, but then I think when you look at it to the hype train that was Xbox, it was more, Bethesda was more in keeping with E3. It was touching on what they wanted to touch on, and I think it was okay. I mean, I don't think it's certainly not what I've seen on obviously watching it through YouTube. You see some of the other videos on there was like, as Bethesda dropped the ball, worst conference ever. I don't think it was that. I think there was some good elements to it, So I think there was definitely some good elements to it. So and there's definitely some good interesting games in there.
Absolutely. And then next up was Square Enix.
Was it Ubisoft?
Oh no, it was Ubisoft.
Yeah.
It was Ubisoft. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so next up was Ubisoft, my friends. This is the one. This is the one that I was gutted about because I can't think what I was doing now, but I was doing something, and then all of a sudden I realised this was on, and I'm like, oh no, and it had been on for a little while, so I saved it to the next day. But yeah, this has got this. I don't know what it is with Ubisoft, but I just seem to be... I think it's because they've got so many rods in the fire of so many different genres, but it just, it just suits me. I mean, they started off with Watch Dogs Legion, which just looks stunning. I mean, it's in London. It's in a crime-ridden London after Brexit, which London is the world's most under surveillance city, and it was just initially they went in there and they went into Piccadilly Circus, I think it was, and it was like, I recognise that telephone box, and even to the point that they didn't put like the telephone box in there, like we all know London telephone boxes. They even went to the point of putting Wi-Fi, which all the London telephone points have got on them now, which is Wi-Fi here. But it just looks stunning. But it was just you don't play as a character; you play as whatever character you want. Anybody in the world you can recruit, so it's up for you to recruit your team. So it starts off where you're playing a very typical Cockney, as the Americans would see us. So you're playing a very typical Cockney, but it's going through like you've almost got like a Jarvis in your ear, haven't you? You've almost got like an AI. And they're saying, right, to get rid of that drone, you need to find a drone pilot or a drone hacker. So you're being prompted to go somewhere to find someone in the vicinity you're in. So you find that this drone hacker is being questioned by one of the police, for want of a better word. You get into a battle, you get killed, your character's died, permadeath. So then it goes over to another character who carries the story on from where you were, and it just seems to be so. What happened to this character? Oh well, they've managed to find out that this person is what we need. These were last seen here, and it just looked so unique but so stunning.
Yeah. And then when your character, like as you say, when your character died, there was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think they had like press B to lay to rest.
Yeah.
And then they had that. What I liked was you had your first character was kind of following that guy, the drone guy, and then the second character that you then recruited, that lady, she was like a more traversing. She was in, where was she? She was Camden Market.
Yes.
So she was in Camden Market, but she was up on the roofs and doing some more kind of acrobatic stuff. So it really kind of showed that there was differences between the characters as well. And then obviously the famous point of this is they also switched to a granny who was then feeding, an ass-kicking granny who was feeding pigeons, so it just kind of like, it's really interesting, it's like, it's very interesting, it looks like it could be really good fun and very kind of, involving, a very kind of deep storyline.
It looked stunning. It just looked quite unique. I think that I've not seen a game that's done that like that. And I think where a lot of the people played Watch Dogs last year, because it was in San Francisco, was it?
It was a couple of years ago, but it was San Francisco. And
I think I want to play this for London because they were some of the bits you were showing were spot on graphically. I know they can't do everything, but no, that's definitely got my interest without a shadow of a doubt. That one.
So that's Watch Dogs Legion, and that's coming out this year, isn't it?
March 2020.
That's March 2020.
Yeah,
right?
Because I then thought, oh, brilliant! I've got March 2020 as Watch Dogs, and I've got April 2020 as Cyberpunk. So it's just like April is going to be super busy at the moment.
Yes. Holy moly, yeah, though, you're right. I'm just looking at this. Yep. Oh, it just looks so good. I'm just looking at the screenshots as I was trying to get it, but it looks great. It looks like it's going to be good fun.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it.
And what was up next?
Well, it was Division. Episode 1 and 2, and they're going to New York, I think it was. They're going to the Pentagon.
Getting back to New York, yeah. They go to the Pentagon, they're going outside of Washington, and then right at the end, they teased New York, didn't they? That they were kind of almost kind of like Brooklyn, and they were like kind of there, and you could see New York in the distance, and I just thought that was quite cool. Did make me think that we need to jump back into Division, because we've left that like a cold potato, so we do need to kind of get back into that. But then they also came out and announced that the Division movie is still going ahead. It's going to be on Netflix, and it's going to be Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal are going to be starring in it as well.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously Netflix have got the money because I don't think they actually make a profit. But they've done some good stuff recently. I've been jumping on Netflix and they've been doing some really good movies. I can't think of what it was now, but I watched one a few weeks ago, which was a very I can't think of his name now. Was it Gerard Butler? Can't remember now. But there was one a few weeks ago that I watched, and there's a few times I've jumped on there and watched some really interesting stuff where I sort of been flicking around, and obviously the Chef Show as well, which you brought me onto, which is a phenomenal program.
It's fantastic. I finished that last night, and I was sad when I finished that. The last two, have you seen it all now?
No, I literally watched the first episode. Anybody who doesn't know what the Chef Show is, because Anthony said about on the WhatsApp the Chef Show, and I paid didn't pay any attention to it, but it was like, it's another cookery program. But one of my favourite films of all time is Chef, which was Jon Favreau, being a very well known restaurateur, got critically sort of slated by a food critic, and then ended up having a food van. But what I didn't realise was that he was actually trained by this guy who does the program with him to actually cook like cabanas and things like that. So Anthony's brought me onto this program where it is the two of them, and the first one they had what's her face, Pepper.
They had Gwyneth Paltrow, Gwyneth Paltrow forgot that she was on Spider-Man.
That was brilliant, yeah.
Which really made me laugh.
Right at the end, where Spider-Man was going to go in, the press conference, but he didn't go in there. That was hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, then they cooked the pepper pot soup, which I've got to try because that looks stunning.
Yeah.
But thank you for putting me onto that one. But no, I've watched the
amazing.
First one, and I'm gonna savor them like a nice Merlot.
The second one has Avengers, so it has Russo brothers, it has Spider-Man, and it is just incredible. It has Iron Man, and it is just amazing. But the last two have kind of just. We never went when we went to Austin, but the last two are in Austin. Every episode is amazing. Every episode is fantastic. And Roy Choi, who's the guy who's with, is just incredible. When they go to Robert Rodriguez's house and make pizza, that is just amazing. But the last two episodes are in Austin. Yeah. And so they have it, and they go to Franklin's Barbecue, which was unfortunately one of the spots we didn't go to. We ended up going to Stubbs when we were in Austin, and they go to Franklin's and they just like, oh God, it's the food that they do, the things that they make are just absolutely amazing. I love that program so much. I did tweet out actually today that just like, I want them to make more. Yeah. I want them to make more because it's just, oh God, it was phenomenal. It was only 6 episodes, but I just like, it was so funny because like we were watching that while we were having dinner, and like Nicola kept going, well, it's not like a main program. We need to we're watching Chernobyl. It was kind of almost like,
you can't have your dinner and watch Chernobyl.
No, it's kind of the happiness before the Chernobyl cloud. Again, pun intended.
But it was just like programs that I've still got the pizza show on my Sky Plan,
Yeah.
both seasons.
Yeah.
And I will go like a year, 8 months or whatever, and I'll watch it again because it's that type of program you can just watch over and over again. It's just really, it's really Moorish to just sit and watch it.
But to watch Jon Favreau when he's working, there's one episode where he gets his knives out, and the way that he just prepares, the way he gets them out, the way that he's cutting the food, the way that he prepares a brisket in like episode 5, he is just, not only was he trained for that movie, you can tell that him and Roy, they basically have that kind of Jedi Padawan kind of relationship, and the mutual respect between the two of them is just, it's just phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal. Anyway, back to games.
Ubisoft now.
Yeah, Ubisoft. Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six Quarantine was announced, and we've got more Terminator, I guess, as well. There was Terminator coming to Ghost Recon as well.
Terminator and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which was the one with Thingy in it, wasn't it?
John Beffanel. I
can't remember his name. But
and Bam Bam the dog.
The most well-behaved dog in the world. But that just looks really good. Now, what I couldn't work out with that, is that got a single-player campaign, or is it online?
No, it's a single player co-op like Division.
Right, okay.
So it's a co-op. It's a co-op game, but like you've got to go in and there's mission based.
Right, okay. So it's like Division basically, where you have to go in. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't quite work it out, but that looked really, really good. I thought that really scratched my itch. That was like my Ubisoft sort of like, ooh, this looks very, very good. And of course, then when you saw he was in it, I think that's definitely another one I'm going to check out.
Absolutely. So that was really cool. They had, like I say, they did have Rainbow Six Quarantine was announced. So that is just kind of like an outbreak event, which is you basically kind of got to go in, get your guy out. It sounded like there were zombies all around. There kept being this thing kind of running in the background, like you would just suddenly see a whole bunch of zombies. So that was quite cool. Rainbow Six was there. They had Just Dance 2020. They had that Just Dance moment.
Coming to the Wii.
It's coming to the Wii. I had a Wii while that was on.
I skipped that one.
So, and then they had For Honor as well, which was going to have like a samurai kind of event, and that was kind of runs from now until June 27th. So that was coming. And then they announced Roller Champions, which I think James was talking about kind of a couple of pods ago. So Roller Champions, which was, I think it was a leak, a rumor that James was talking about, and it was a 3v3 free-to-play game that's coming to PC at the moment, but which looks good. Roller derby. It's like Rocket League does roller derby.
It's got that sort of smattering of the sort of gameplay of Rocket League on it. So looks quite interesting. I know you can go and register interest in it at the moment, so I did keep a meaning to go and register interest just to have a look at it and see what it was like. But it's definitely got that same sort of vibe written over it, so that it could be quite an interesting little game. That is, especially if it comes to console.
And did you see that Assassin's Creed had that story creator mode? I don't, because you're kind of a big Assassin's Creed Odyssey fan. Did that kind of rattle your boat? Did that kind of get you excited that you can kind of build your own missions?
I don't know, really. I mean, I didn't pay a huge amount of attention to it. I think it's a good idea for people who have played the game and finished the game. I don't know. I quite like the storyline being presented to me. I thought what was quite interesting was the fact that obviously they were talking about how they had to, stay true to the ancient laws and the ancient worlds and things like that. So I don't think it's been an easy task to do it, but it did look interesting. I might jump in and give it a bit of a closer look. So I just think that
because that's available now, isn't it? That's kind of.
I think they're being true to their word. I mean, they said it. They said they weren't going to rush out and release another one, and this one was going to last a good couple of years because obviously they're developing the next one. But I think it's a massive game, and I think they're being honest and they're keeping it going.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And then before we get on to their services, the last game I think that they unveiled was a trailer for Gods and Monsters, which it's from the Assassin's Creed team. So there's a breakout Assassin's Creed team that are working on this kind of almost Zelda-esque, Zelda-inspired kind of title, which looked, I think James kind of got quite excited on that when that came up, and it looked like it could be quite interesting. I don't know what platforms it was announced for, but it definitely looks like it was coming to maybe Xbox One and PlayStation, because it looks shiny but at the same time cel shaded and graphical, kind of cartoony in kind of graphic style, but it looked really cool.
Yeah,
it looked really cool. I really liked it.
I mean, looking at it, I just clicked on the
from
page.
What we saw.
Yeah, looking at it is very Breath of the Wild. That's to say,
yes.
Yeah, when it arrives on Google Stadia, PlayStation 4, Windows PC, Xbox, and wait for it, Nintendo Switch. So
yay! That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool on Nintendo Switch.
So it's coming to all of them.
And then exactly. And then speaking of Stadia, Ubisoft announced its Uplay Plus gaming subscription. So I think we had rumours of that a couple of weeks ago on the pod, and that was that this kind of EA access, the Game Pass kind of version for Uplay. The only kind of caveat that we have is that it's just for PC and Stadia at the moment, but it's still kind of, obviously with us grabbing Stadia, you could still kind of play your Ubisoft titles that way, and it's a kind of all you can eat subscription service from Ubisoft.
Yeah, honestly, I was disappointed. I was disappointed when I found out that it was PC only, and then obviously Stadia. But because I would have got in there, especially with like Legions and that coming up, because they made a big point of saying that, join up and Legions is there and all the back catalogue. EA Access? What's it called on PC? I'm trying to think. It's got a different name on PC, isn't it? Yeah,
yes,
Origins.
Yes, it's like the EA, EA Origins. Yes.
Did EA Origins come out before EA Access?
No, I think the other way around. I think
no, because I was hoping that it was going to be a case of that Google hadn't just thrown their money around and landed this as a bit of a precursor to make people get onto their platform rather than the console, as a straight fight out of xCloud, and obviously with what PlayStation are thinking of doing. So yeah, I was slightly disappointed. Watch this space. I think it'll be interesting. I don't think they can avoid the consoles, because there's too much money there, especially if you look at PlayStation. But maybe Stadia would just have it. It's a trial. Maybe they'll have it until next year. But but it's good. It's another service out there. Iron out the faults on PC and Stadia, and then bring it over to the Xbox and PlayStation on next gen, maybe. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I say, with all those games that are coming out, like Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon, and sure there's going to be the great thing about having those on a subscription is that, if you and I wanted to play, you go, oh, do you fancy playing some Ghost Recon? I'm like, I haven't got it. So that's like, I'd have to jump in like 60 quid in, where if I just had a $14.99 subscription, I go, do you know what? I'll just jump on Stadia, because we're going to get cross play and cross all of that. I could just jump in on Stadia for $14.99 for like 1 month, and I've got Ghost Recon, So that's what I like about these subscription services. I don't think that's probably a subscription too far from me at the moment. There's not some games, but at the same time, if Ghost Recon looks amazing, and and I fancy jumping in for like a weekend or a week or whatever, it gives me the ability to be able to just kind of stump up 14 quid and then just kind of play that for a month.
Yeah, I think as a Ubi fan, I think I would ditch my EA Access and have the Ubi one within a blink, really, because I can see there's a good handful of games. I loved Far Cry, and I actually want to go back and play some of the older Far Cries if I ever get time. So no, it was a stellar show. I think it was a good showing from Ubisoft. And anything else before we move on?
No, I think that was it. I think that was all that we had at Ubisoft. Like I say, there was just dance. They danced. And
they dance every year. They never stop dancing.
No, it's fun. It's always good fun when they come out. I just love Ubisoft. They're just like, they didn't show Beyond Good and Evil 2. They kind of left that. I could kind of feel that that's going to be a next-gen title. If we ever see it, that's going to be a next-gen title. So, and obviously, like you said, no Assassin's Creed this year with with Watch Dogs taking up that slot.
So talking about things that we'll never see, segue, we go over to Square Enix and we actually finally got to see Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes, and a date.
And an actual date, not a million miles away. I can't remember when it was now, but it's not a million miles away.
It was March.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was March 2020.
Yeah.
I'm just Googling Final Fantasy. I've just written Fireball Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sure it was like March. So yeah, so they got an announcement that is coming out. It's actually going to come out. So they showed quite a nice big chunk of gameplay as well. Still from that kind of main area, Midgar. Was it Midgar? They still showed that kind of main area, but it looks like it could be fun. You know, it looks like I'm definitely going to jump into this. As I've said time and time on the pod, I've only ever played the first disc of Final Fantasy VII, so I never kind of got through to the end. So it will be really cool just to kind of to just play this phenomenal title that everybody kind of absolutely loves and lords over. So it'll be really cool just to kind of go there. I'm just looking down.
3rd of March 2020.
Yeah, 3/3/2020. You can get a chocobo if you pre-order a game. So that looked absolutely fantastic. I thought it looks really good. And they have this thing where when you're kind of like battling in the battle system, if you kind of get enough, if you build up your meter, you almost pause time, and then you can then move the camera around freeform, and then you can then start using your special abilities. And I thought, that looks stunning.
Brutally honestly, it doesn't interest me at all until I saw this conference. And when I saw that footage, I'm like, okay, it's very Square, it's very Japanesey, for want of a better word, but
it's very Final Fantasy.
It's very that sort of styley, looking at it, it sort of sold me. It's definitely something I think I'll look at. The boss battle when they were fighting the crab or whatever it was, that seemed to cut that quite a lot, because one minute they were standing in fire, the next minute they weren't. That sort of took my polish off it a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of these games where you've got, you spend 25 minutes fighting a boss. But it did look stunning, and it did pique my interest.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes out, I don't think it's going to come to any subscription service, I think it might be a boomeranger. I think for me, it's definitely a boomeranger, or wait a few months and get someone's copy off eBay that they don't want it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely spot on. But we still don't know. They're saying it's coming out on the 3rd of March, but we don't know if that's episode 1 or the whole thing, or kind of what's coming out. But so that's Final Fantasy VII.
2 Blu-rays worth of content or something like that.
Can't remember. I haven't.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was that one saying that there is two. There's technically they've made 2 Blu-ray discs full of content for this game.
That's a lot of content. Maybe we do get the. Maybe we do get there everything on the 3rd of March. That's a packed March, isn't it?
You thought Red Dead was a big download. What the hell is this going to? This is going to download like half a terabyte.
So I noticed that this evening, I think Forza Horizon is like 80 gig.
Yeah.
Like all in all is like 80 gig. But anyway, so they also said that Kingdom Hearts 3 is getting a Remind DLC. It's coming this winter. We had kind of an announcement that coming to PC, PS4 and Xbox One and Switch was the much loved, the much anticipated Final Fantasy VIII remastered. So I think when they announced all these remasters that came out previously, they had done 6, they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then they went to 9, and then 9, 2, well, they're all the different ones, and they'd missed 8. So 8 is now coming to Switch, Xbox One and PC as well. And people were going bananas for it. So I know a guy at work as well, that was kind of one of the things that he was hoping was going to be announced. So we've got that. I'm skirting around the big one that I really want to kind of talk about, but I'm just going to have a look to see if there was anything else that we need to talk about. People Can Fly unveiled that they had a new co-op shooter as well, Outriders.
That looks really good.
Did you see that? Did you see the trailer?
That looks really good. That piqued my
interest. Did you ever play Bulletstorm?
Yeah, I played because they did Bulletstorm and Gears Judgment, I think it was, wasn't it?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Gears. Oh, I can say Gears of War with this one. Gears of War Judgment. But no, I mean
Gears of War : Judgment.
Yeah, colon. But no, it did. That did look good. That did pique my interest in the midst of all the Final Fantasy boredom that was sort of like I was fast forward and skipping through. The other thing that I cannot find it on here, which was there was one of the studios did a top-down racing game, a bit Micro Machine-y.
Yes, that looks so
stunning.
good.
That had Sparks, Forza Horizon Night written all over it. You know, all of us, me, you, James, Wee Man, Manny, all of us on there just doing this top-down racer. That just looked so polished and shiny, but so much fun. That was that I'm really looking forward to coming out.
The game is called Circuit Superstars.
That's it.
And looks absolutely amazing. Yeah. It just looks fantastic. The art style on that game just looked amazing. You know, there's one where you just kind of, and it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch as well. Yeah. Oh my god, that might even have to be a multiple purchase. So, because that's another thing that when I was listening to Phil Spencer today in an interview, he was saying that one of the things that he really likes, I wrote it down, was cross-play, cross-buy, and cross-entitlement.
Yes,
which is exactly what you were talking about last week, Stu.
Yeah, which is brilliant because we are moving into this world of multiple consoles, and you know, and even if we have a PlayStation at home, I can see many people having a PlayStation and Stadia, depending on what PlayStation do. So, yeah, I think that we've got to move to a world where we have that cross-entitlement. We have that, you know, we're not having to buy it multiple times and drop 60 quid because we've got xCloud, Stadia and Xbox, let's say. I hope that is something that comes true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would like to say that that was one of the ones that I'm sure the PR people were kind of shaking their heads and just telling him to shut up. But it's really nice that the head of one of the main console manufacturers was thinking that way. Obviously, it takes everyone to think that way in order for us to kind of get that. But it was quite nice that maybe Phil was out there championing it. But you're absolutely right. Circuit Superstars reminds me of, there was an old game that I used to play in the arcades that used to have to spin the steering wheel in order to turn around the corners.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. And it was like, and last time I went up to my dad's, you know, we kind of went into, because he lives in kind of like a seaside town not far from Skegness, and we kind of went into the arcades and they had it there, and I had to put some money in just so I could have a go of it, and it was still very cool. So yeah, no, that was really good, cool. And then the game that I'm scared.
That's it, isn't it? That we're on to Nintendo now.
No,
that's your face. It. That's definitely it.
Shut your face, mouth. The game that they also announced, the kind of, I don't know why, but set the internet ablaze with the kind of entitlement. But Marvel Avengers was properly announced. We knew it was coming because they gave us a teaser trailer, I think, last year. But we got to see the first kind of cinematics, scene setting, and maybe a little bit of gameplay in there as well. When Iron Man was flying through the Golden Gate Bridge, that might be, or when Hulk was smashing. So we got Marvel Avengers, and I don't know about you, Stu, but this game looks awesome.
Does it mean I have to catch up on the films even quicker now?
Well, no, because you have until it's next year,
June.
isn't it? So
I should be able to fit them in by then. I'm still halfway through Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
But this doesn't look like it's going anywhere near.
No.
This doesn't look like it's going anywhere near the cinematic universe. Someone did say, there's a real stretch, and I saw on the internet, they're saying how the character models look similar to the Marvel Spider-Man character models, and I would love if there was some crossover with this.
Yeah,
almost like the Insomniac, Sony, and Square Enix are building this kind of like MCU, this gaming MCU, and I would absolutely love
they did.
That.
I know we talked about it before the pod. They did they did say that there was exclusive content coming to the PlayStation. So some stuff was going to be early and some stuff would be exclusive content. So yeah, you could be onto something there. They could be cross playing it with Spider-Man, some special DLC or something like that. But no, I mean, it looks stunning. I mean, it'll be interesting to see more gameplay, how you play. You know, as I think we said before, do you play as a certain character? I know it's 4-player co-op. I did hear that.
Yes.
It's for
pre-order for an early access to the beta, so they're trying it out and testing it and stuff like that.
So I mean, how can you not like it? I mean, you're playing as one of the Avengers with your mates or on your own, and it's gonna be phenomenal.
It looks great. I love the models are very similar to Marvel Spider-Man. I like that kind of model. That I didn't want to go in and see Nolan North doing a photorealistic Robert Downey Jr. And we don't. We have something that's slightly different. Just like when you're reading a comic book, everyone draws differently. So if it's a Jim Lee comic book, if it's a Scotty Young comic book, they all kind of like different art styles, and that's what we're seeing from here. So the thing is that everyone's used to Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You know, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Everyone's used to Robert Downey Jr. So, you know, just seeing this slightly different, this is fantastic, because my Iron Man, it is Robert Downey Jr. because he's amazing, but my Iron Man is from the comic books, you know, and it all depends. So you're used to this different art style, and I just love the fact that there was Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. So they got those 5, and there's been some reports from behind the scenes E3 demos, and basically no one's got to play it yet. It's been a kind of a guided demo,
right.
And what they did was they had right at the start of the game, because what happens in the trailer, it looks like they're celebrating Avengers Day. So it's a day, you know, they're celebrating Avengers Day in San Francisco, and then suddenly they start getting attacked, by something, and they're trying to, and then the Golden Gate Bridge starts getting attacked, so they then go to the Golden Gate Bridge. You see Hulk smashing, you see Iron Man flying, which is what we were saying could potentially be a bit of gameplay there, and then a ship then drops into the bay and takes out thousands of people. So it's almost like the Avengers are now outlaws. You know, it's like they've disbanded the Avengers. Next scene, you see Tony Stark with a beard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think Captain America might be dead.
I did see,
he might have died in that event.
Because he was talking to Banner, wasn't he? Because, you know, it was quite nice because you say he had Tony Stark with a beard, very different facial characteristics, but you knew it was him because obviously he had the Iron Man glow. And but yeah, and then I think when they were saying about, you know, we've been blamed for this, and then you saw, like, you know, gravestones of loads of people's, thousands of people's names on, and then you saw Captain America gravestone. So how they're going to play that, because obviously whether he is dead or because obviously that you've got an actor playing Captain America. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I know when I think when they're on stage, they said that, you know, we've been working together to come up with a unique Marvel storyline for the Avengers. So I think going back to my early comment about the films, it is a unique storyline. So, which, unlike Star Wars, which is the same universe, but it's not in the same storyline, but which would be brilliant. Yeah. And I think that's good, actually. I think because then if it breaks away from it, we've got more premise for spin-offs, or we've got more premise for sequels. So,
well, you can just do more with it. You can kind of bring back Thanos. Yeah. You know, there could be a DLC with Thanos. You can. Thanos has been in every single movie. Thanos was in Avengers Assemble. So if you don't know who Thanos is, you're not paying attention to those movies that you're watching in Dolby Atmos. So Thanos was right. You know, so they can bring Thanos, they can bring Red Skull. You know, they can bring all of these kind of characters back because they have that license that they can then play around with them. So I love that it's not MCU. Or like I say, it's, for me, I read comic books on a weekly basis, so there are different stories for all of those. I'm getting different stories for all of my Avengers. The Avengers I'm reading is not the Avengers I'm looking at, but obviously because the Avengers movies and all these Marvel MCUs is just such a big phenomenon, something that we've never experienced before. Everyone ties them back to that, but they are kind of different. But then back to the report that I heard of this kind of guided gameplay where they were just watching it, they basically just said that it takes them through just after that, or in that looks like it could be the opening scene of this, and it basically was a tutorial just taking you through each one of the characters. So Thor is a bit like God of War, Iron Man is flying around and kind of traversing, and you kind of be able to kind of take things out and target them. Hulk is picking up people and smashing people with it and throwing stuff around. So it really does, you kind of know what kind of gameplay that you're going to get. And it just looks like it could be a ton of fun. If it's as almost as good as Marvel Spider-Man, then we're in for a really good game. So I'm happy. I just like I say, I want some more information. Would love to see this gameplay trailer, and I'm sure we will at some point. But the person who was reporting on it basically just said they went in and the first thing they were told was like, phones away, no phones, no one's filming. Yeah. It's kind of like so maybe they're going to do a bit more later. Maybe we'll get kind of closer and closer to the date. We'll get some more information. Now this is coming in May, so this is coming May 2020, isn't it? I think you were saying.
Yeah, coming May 2020, so it should land just before E3 next year.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God, so that means blimey! So that's so what's that? Watch Dogs Legions in March, then Cyberpunk in April, then Avengers in May.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. 2020 is going to be a full bifty year, and you're not even kind of it's a gorgeous segue. But we've got Animal Crossing comes out on the 20th of March as well.
Who's that by?
Oh, I just want to punch you sometimes. I really do.
It's your fault when I said that. I can't think what I said the other day, which I don't really care about such. Not I don't really care about. I'm not really bothered about watching or catching up with another one and Nintendo. And I could feel across WhatsApp. I could feel your anxiety. Just like I swear when they announced 4K Viva Pinata, I swear I heard a cheer. And they're in America and you were over here, so you cheered loudly. But I'm sure I heard a little cheer somewhere off in the distance in my Dolby surround sound.
Do you know what? I was on the train going to Manchester, and I was reading the news reports, and I was just like, yes, yeah, like it was like haloing in Sea of Thieves, and then backwards compat, and and it was so funny. I was heading towards Manchester, and I really wanted to be like going the other way back to Tunbridge Wells. So I was like, suddenly I've been taken ill on the train.
Sorry, I've ruined your segue. Go on, carry on.
No, and then gorgeously and finally was Nintendo. So Nintendo did a 40-minute Nintendo Direct. That was on Tuesday, 5 p.m. UK time. So they started off, they introduced Doug Bowser in a very Nintendo way, which was fantastic. Doug seems to be kind of, fitting in nicely. He seems to be kind of handy, can handle these directs, so I thought he did a really good job. And then they kind of kicked off with Luigi's Mansion 3. So Luigi's Mansion 3 might not have kicked off with that, but I was 5 minutes late, so that's kind of what I saw. Was Luigi's Mansion 3.
At least you weren't James, who already realised that it had started when he was getting ready to work shit at 6 o'clock.
I thought he was because I know Matt said that he was working, so he was going to catch it later. But James was strangely quiet for a conference that
with
announced
Luigi.
And showed a lot of Luigi. They showed Gooigi. They showed Animal Crossing and Banjo, and I was like, nothing from James. I was like, can someone please go to Bun Eaton, because I think James might have passed out. So they kicked off with Luigi's Mansion. This looks absolutely fantastic. So Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out. You have this whole kind of skyscraper thing that you need to go through, and you're collecting doorknobs as you go through level by level. It looks really cool. And this is going to be co-op, or you can take it on your own. And then you also Luigi has the ability to summon Gooigi. which it was quite weird, quite unsettling, but you basically just have a gooey version of Luigi that can then kind of fit through things and do some stuff. But while you do that, Luigi is very quiet. He doesn't really do anything. He's like in a kind of, he's given all of his goo away to Luigi. And then you kind of pop back in and then he's all okay. So this is coming out in 2019. We do not have a date for it yet, but we're coming out in 2019. And the trailer was amazing. My favourite bit was all of the different coloured Luigis kind of running around with their different coloured Luigis running around in the co-op multiplayer. That just looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. And it's going to be supporting Nintendo Online. It's going to be supporting voice chat, and all of that functionality will all be supported for Luigi's Mansion 3.
Can't really comment on that because I haven't seen any of this.
You are a monster.
It does look good, to be honest. I'm actually flicking through. The Verge page that you've put up on the notes, and I think I'm going to crack open an IPA after it and catch up with this, because there does look like there's some really interesting stuff, and who doesn't like Luigi?
It's
Matt, true. Actually,
Luigi.
Sorry, yeah.
So we got Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. They showed some more of that, and that game just looks incredible. It just looks fantastic. It's that reimagining, remake of the Link's Awakening game that was out on the GBA. I've never played it. I think James finished it recently, but I've never played it. But this Switch game is coming in September 20th. And it's such a lovely kind of isometric view. It's just kind of chunky and it just looks amazing, and it just is that game, but you can also play it through in different ways as well. They're giving you kind of more ways to play this game, and this just looks absolutely fantastic. So this is Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. I'll put a link to all these pages that we're reading from so you can check out the trailers, but Legend of Zelda just looks incredible. And they also announced that there's going to be an amiibo as well, a Link amiibo, which I only have one amiibo, which is a giant woolly Yoshi, but I really wanted this little Link as well. It's so cool. And so he just looked adorable. So they announced that Resident Evil 5 and 6 were also going to be coming to the Switch. It was very much kind of one of those conferences where they were giving you kind of information after information. And so they're coming. So both Resident Evil 5 and 6, they did a funny thing where they were like, imagine playing Resident Evil in a scary location, and then you have this couple, or this guy and this girl, going to this haunted mansion playing Switch, and every now and then the gameplay got too much for him, so he handed the controller over to I could only imagine it was his girlfriend, and then she was playing, and then it got too much for her, so she handed it back, and then they started feeling a presence, and then they ran out of there. It was a complete waste of 5 minutes, but it was just bonkers and fun, and I just loved Nintendo for that. Yeah, exactly. And then they announced that No More Heroes 3 is coming. So Suda51, I think it's Suda51, he is going to be showing us Travis Touchdown is back and is coming back in 2020. So again, you kind of had that kind of bonkers trailer. We also had Daemon X Machina trailer, and also a remake of Panzer Dragoon, which was an original back on the Sega, I want to say Saturn. Yeah. I want to say Saturn.
Put on here, classic Sega Saturn shooter.
Oh, there you go. That I should just scroll. And so the Sega Saturn, which is really cool. They announced that Pokemon Sword and Shield will have limited Pokeball Plus support, and then a game that I really need to talk to James about, because I know that he played the original Crypt of the Necro Dancer, and this is a game which basically mixes Crypt of the Necro Dancer and The Legend of Zelda together, and this is it's out today, which is basically called The Cadence of Hyrule, which is very much like Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's a musical spin-off. I'm not quite sure how the Crypt of the Necrodancer works. I remember Darren talking about it. So I need to kind of sit down with Thomas and have a chat with him, see if that's something that I could be excited about. And then the last three biggies are Nintendo basically did possibly one of the best trolls that I have seen, which was, and I guess you haven't seen this, have you, Stu? Which was basically you had Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong and Cranky Kong all in a house, and they're all asleep, and then suddenly something spam past the screen, which looked like a jiggy, which looked like a puzzle piece. And so you thought, Banjo, this is going to be Banjo. And then they all run to the window and you see this, what looks like a bear and a bird silhouette, and you're like, they've done it, Banjo's coming to Smash, this is incredible. And then they kind of comes out of the shadows and it's the Duck Hunt dog and duck. Basically in the style of like Banjo, and then they just kind of appear, lots of them appear, and it's almost, I was like, I cannot believe that they did that, because there's such a want for Banjo in Smash Brothers, and I just thought, no, they cannot do, they can't do it. I was just chuckling to myself as I was watching it, and then falling from the sky is that lovable dumb bear, Banjo and Kazooie, and so we have, and then it kind of, Banjo lands, and it kind of does this like splash screen, and it just says Banjo-Kazooie are raring to go. And so basically what we have is Banjo coming later on this year to Super Smash Brothers. And then I kind of, at the same time, I checked Twitter, and Twitter was going bonkers for Banjo in Smash. So they can't, I mean, the event that James hosted in last summer, which was at the Herbert Museum, where we were talking, there was a Q&A with Rare. There was a guy sitting in front of me who was asking kind of lots of Banjo questions to the guys, and they were saying, no, we have no idea. And at that point, they had no idea that Banjo was kind of being considered. But I'm kind of thinking, and he was like, I doubt if that will happen, and everyone was like very doubted about it. And it was quite nice to see Greg Mayles, I think it's Greg, or whoever it was in the panel, basically just going, I can't believe that this has happened. It's just, it's incredible that a character that they have created is now kind of in Smash Brothers.
Well, I think it's I know I wanted to see a bit more of it, but I think this is probably testament to the fact of the close relationship that, Phil and Reggie had, in respects of the, Microsoft and Nintendo seem to be having a, let's talk, we're all part of the same family, but we're competitors. So I think this is just a proof that, some of the companies, they're open and they're happy. There's lots of games we don't really want to play. I mean, I don't know. Would you want to play Animal Crossing on the Xbox, or are you happy with it on your Switch? Because to me,
if it was cross-play, cross-progression, then yes.
Because to me, it's sort of like the Nintendo is one of those.
If I got 4K, then yes.
Stupid question, Stuart. But it's one of those things where I think it is. It's just good to see the fact of that. Yeah, a Rare character, which is a Microsoft studio, but is on a Nintendo game. That's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Minecraft Dungeons, which I think you mentioned earlier. That's coming to Switch as well. And but this, you're absolutely spot on. This is a well-known Microsoft now, Rare IP, Microsoft IP that is now on the Switch. This is akin to, Crash Bandicoot being on Smash Brothers. This is like from PlayStation side, equally stupid bear. Or a Bandicoot. But so this is kind of, this is amazing. It looks fantastic. It looks great. So it was just really cool to see that happening. Obviously, it was straight away, as soon as that happened, everyone who has been asking for Banjo, for years are now going, right, give me Grab by the Ghoulies in Smash. I want Master Chief. I want, it's like, if we ask for it and bug people, we get it.
To us,
So I think this is a testament to the guys at Rare, to the guys at Nintendo, and as you say, that close relationship, because I think they've realised that everybody wants this, and now they've got it. So that was Banjo. I'm saving the big one to last. That was Banjo. We had Luigi's Mansion. Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics, probably the best game name that trips off your tongue, is also coming. I saw the other day that they're making a Dark Crystal like TV show for, I think it's a TV show rather than a movie, for Netflix, and that got me really excited because I loved Dark Crystal when I was younger. I'm just looking. I think that's everything, and then the last two, I'm going to go down to the bottom. The last two
you
was
covered Witcher.
I did. We covered Witcher earlier, which is that's coming, and that's, like I say, that's going to be 720 on the TV, 540 on the handheld. I don't know how they're doing it. It's witchcraft to get that working, but I'm quite interested in playing that on the Switch, because that would be really cool, But coming on the 20th of March 2020, a little bit late. So Animal Crossing New Horizons was supposed to be coming in 2019, but what they have said is that they are just delaying it until March, and one of the reasons why they're delaying it is because they want to be able to give the Animal Crossing studio the quality of life that they deserve. So rather than kind of getting them crunching now until November, to get out on kind of like the last month of the year, they are basically pushing it back to March. And I'm happy with this. I'd rather this game be a happy, perfect game rather than start hearing things about developers crunching and not seeing their families and all that just for Animal Crossing. I want this game has to be happy. So they announced Animal Crossing. They showed a big chunk in the direct. They also, after it, were in their treehouse and showed a little bit more of the kind of game mechanics. The fact that you can take any piece of furniture, put it anywhere, really kind of customize your island. You get dumped on an island, and then you can really start kind of customizing and start going about your Animal Crossing adventure. I cannot wait. I mean, there was a whole kind of uproar that this just is going to take over our lives. There's just so many people I know that just want to play Animal Crossing, and I just cannot wait to just kind of jump in, trade, get people into my worlds, and kind of see it. I can't wait to see what James's good wife Ali, what she does, because the stuff that she did with the Pocket Camp was incredible. So I can't wait to see kind of what she does to her kind of island, and being able to visit that would just be absolutely stunning. She will be my go-to person for kind of, if I need anything, Ali's the person that I need to go to get all of that. So this just looks absolutely amazing. So it's coming out on March the 20th, 2020, and that's just going to be absolutely fantastic. So that's Animal Crossing, and then we thought that was it. And in true Nintendo and true E3 conferencing, the last thing was, I've just got one more thing. And that one more thing was this. Starts off as a very stylized trailer, I love when this happens. I don't know about you, Stu, but when you start seeing these kind of trailers that are giving nothing away, your mind's racing through
what can it be? What can it be?
What IP could it be? And this, so it took us through. It started to just show, and then it started to look familiar, and then the area, the world, it just all started to look familiar, and then it turns out that Legends of Zelda Breath of Wild has a full, not an expansion that I was hoping for, this is beyond what I was hoping for, has a full sequel in the works. Ooh. So they basically just showed a scene with Link and Zelda walking through a dungeon. Then some mysterious kind of witch wakes up, her eyes go red, and then it cuts to outside into Hyrule, and you see this kind of almost this area, this piece of land just kind of break up from the land. Like, could it be like another one of those big kind of giant machines? Could it be one of those? We don't know. And then it just flashes up that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is in development. Ooh. And so it looks like it's using the assets. It looks like it's using the engine from Breath of the Wild, which I'm more than happy at. But it's going to be a whole full new sequel. And I just that got myself and my good lady wife were both kind of going bonkers over
Any
this.
idea on timing, or they just said we're building it, it'll be ready when it's ready?
They said it'll come when it's ready.
Yeah. I mean,
no, nothing.
Going back to Animal Crossing, I'm glad, because I know there was a bit of backlash about crunch and things like that on a few of the other pods, but I'm just glad that they're obviously something like Animal Crossing that people are looking forward to so much. They knew that they were going to be disappointed because everybody was sort of going, well, they've said 2019, so when's it going to be, sort of thing. Yeah. So I'm really happy that they've said no. We want to do it properly. We want to make sure the people are doing it, are in a good place, and you're going to get the game that we want to give you, but it's going to be ready when we're ready to give it to you. And I think, and the same. I think there's been too many games out there which have got rushed out. They may be in a place where they're good now, like Fallout 76, but they arguably shouldn't have come out that quickly. And actually, I quite admire Nintendo for the fact that we're showing you a Zelda. That means you're not going to get any DLC for Breath of the Wild. But hey, look, what would you rather have? more DLC, or us work on a completely new game for you, which you'll get when we're ready.
Absolutely. At best, I could think we're going to get this
2021.
2020, I would say, because it's the engine. They're not kind of like, I would say, do you know what? Breath of the Wild might be the one that goes up against Scarlet.
Yeah. What, with a new Switch Pro?
Oh, Stu, now you're getting me excited.
Switch Pro launch title being new Breath of the Wild.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to save up so much.
PlayStation 5, Project Scarlet.
I'll buy one PlayStation 5, 2 Scarlets, and 2 Switch Pros. I'll be like,
an iMac monitor for the TV in the movie room.
The good news is, anyone wants an Xbox One X or 2 Switches, come to my house and you can have them. But yeah, I did think about that the other day. Actually, I hope I have noticed that more and more like LG and everyone are bringing out kind of smaller and smaller monitors. Yeah. I did see LG brought out a 32-inch monitor, but it's still kind of £3,000 at the moment. I'm just like, why? You could buy a 65-inch.
The good news is that LG have opened up a new plant, because the problem with screen sizes is that you produce a sheet of glass, and then that glass is obviously cut into the most economic sizes to make it cheap to be able to produce OLED panels. So I know that LG have opened a new plant up where they can produce just as good but cheaper glass, which means that wastage could be higher, but it also means it could be cut differently. So, because I know the guys on AV forums were saying, look, we need to see more 55 and 49-inch OLEDs, and I think Philips had said that they were looking at 49s.
Someone's just announced a 45 or 49, haven't they?
So I think you might well get there. Either that, or you're gonna have to move.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to. I think, you know what? I think you're right. I think maybe I've just outgrown.
But you've now measured your driveway, and your car fits on your driveway perfectly. So you can't move. You've got to buy a new car as well.
That's
another new car.
No. Can't wait for my new car to arrive. So I think that, the Breath of the Wild sequel, I can't wait to see that. That for me, there's a lot of stuff coming. It's going to keep me going. Animal Crossing will keep me going forever. And then we're going to get that. And as we were saying, I think 2020 is turning out to be, it's going to be another bumper year. We've got some good stuff coming at the end of 2019, but 2020 is going to have, like we've already said, we've got March, April, May, 7 in May.
And we've got E3 in June, thinking ahead to next year's one. It's like there is so much stuff coming out, and then obviously you can't help but think that Google are gonna have some unique IPs on Stadia. They're not just gonna. I can't see them just staying of like anything you can get on Xbox and PlayStation or that lot being on Stadia. There's got to be some development in there somewhere they might do. So I'm glad we're getting portable gaming a bit more rather than say like the Switch, because we're going to need it every lunch break, wee break, tea break. We're going to be sitting there having to catch up with our gaming consoles just to stay on this pod. And these pods are going to be even longer.
But absolutely, I mean, I think because we've touched on all the big titles, I think one of the things that we haven't done is that all of these, like Nintendo and Microsoft, had indie showcases. As part of their kind of conferences, they had that moment where they just show a lot of games. Microsoft didn't kind of label a lot of the games, where on the Nintendo one you always had the name kind of down, like Dead Drive Static, Circuit Breakers, all of these sort of stuff. Absolutely, you're right. As we've got all these big tentpoles that are coming out, like Cyberpunk and Marvel and Watch Dogs Legion, but there is moose-booshes kind of all the way through the year with these, and it's going to be great. 2020 is going to be absolutely awesome. What was your kind of big standout, Stu? I didn't ask you before the pod, but what was your kind of big standout of E3 2019?
I think Watch Dogs. I think really obviously Fallen Order. I mean, who doesn't want to play that? I mean, that's a given, really. I think my big standout was that I was happy with it. I was happy with it. I'm glad Sony stayed away. in not in a nasty way, in respects of if they didn't have the games to show, if all they were going to show was Kojima's game, and they didn't really have, or they didn't really want to show the stuff, then I'm actually glad that they did stay away, and sort of say, well, because I think there was a lot of backlash with last year's one, which didn't really work. So, but I think Fallen Order definitely. I think going over to Square. I think definitely Avengers again, without a shadow of a doubt. Let's skip my memory. Watch Dogs Legion. I think they were my biggest ones, but there was a lot of stuff I saw. I mean, I've not watched Kind of Funny conference yet, or their show reel, but there just seemed to be a lot of nice little games where you were sitting there, especially with Game Pass. You were sitting there going, "Well, that's interesting." There was one on there which was. There was one on there which was Idea Xbox, and it was sort of a side-scrolling, sort of really nice, pretty game had some animals in there on a boat, and
oh, that's what came after Cyberpunk, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think that someone made reference to it in Inside Xbox, was like, you went from Cyberpunk to this, and it just is such a great world that we're in, that that we can go from a quadruple A arguably game to an Idea Xbox game. So I think I'm really happy with it. I'm slightly sad it's over, but I'm really looking forward to getting into some of the new stuff that's come through. What about yourself? What are apart from Star Wars and Avengers, what are your big takeaways?
Yeah, I think mine is that Luigi's Mansion looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. So that was going to be a game that I was going to play, but I think it's a game that I'm going to be really enjoying and kind of really jumping in. Animal Crossing, obviously, there's a bit of disappointment it's coming 2020, but that's absolutely fine. I do feel that. Yeah, I think for me it's just like Fallen Order. I think apart from all of that, all of those indies, Dead Static Drive, all of those, and I'm just trying to think, like, the Zelda reveal was kind of what I wanted from that chunky DLC, but I didn't dare to think that we would have a sequel right now. Yeah. Exactly. I think for me, the Microsoft conference kind of just blew me away with the sheer kind of just number of games that were just being thrown at us. So I just kind of enjoyed all of that, just kind of seeing all of that. Halo Infinite, I can't wait to see. The Viva Pinata being 4K, all of these things just kind of really kind of hit the high notes. The fact that, as you say, there's so much there, and the hobby that we absolutely love and adore is just getting better and better, and getting closer as well, because we're getting cross-play. We dare to dream about cross-buying and cross-ownership and all of that. But, that's just going to be the next step. So I really love this big showcase for our hobby. There are just so many amazing big and small titles, and I was just blown away. But like I say, it is those kind of Jedi Fallen Order. Cyberpunk looks amazing. I like Deus Ex games where I get a little bit overwhelmed by them, so I'm kind of thinking that Cyberpunk is going to be like that. So there was just a whole, so in a E3 where I didn't get a Batman, I didn't get a new Viva Pinata, it's okay because they'll be next year, so, I'll just dream, I'll file those away for dreaming next year, but there is just so much, and then you've got things like, the Forza Horizons Lego as well, the fact that we're just still kind of in that kind of bonkers experimental mode where you can do something like that, and that Microsoft will green light that, and they will have fun with their IPs, and I just think there's just so much. But I think the game that I'm most looking forward to coming out of E3, it's predictable for me, but it's Jedi Fallen Order. It is Jedi Fallen Order. I think that is the one game that, if you said to me, out of all of those games, what game would you like to sit down now with your controller and play right now? It would be Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I think going back to your comment about what was being shown, I think no matter what type of gamer you are, I think there was a lot of good content shown, and I think Xbox were cramming, going, we're showing 64 and world exclusive, and I was like, I didn't actually see any of those games as being a game for game's sake. You know, I thought there was some really interesting idea Xbox stuff, you know, and being given, I mean, they were doing one interview with a guy on Inside Xbox who was like, you know, he wasn't a game developer, he wasn't a game designer, but because of Idea Xbox, he managed to do something that he's always wanted to do and get it published.
Wow,
you know,
wow.
and I think that's brilliant in the fact of the, you know, no matter, you know, what sex you are, what age you are, what country you live in, there is so much content for everybody to be. It's never been a better time to be a gamer, even if you're, you know, a Switch lover, you know, playing some very sort of like Switch type games, or you're a AAA Call of Duty, you know, Avengers and all those types of games. I think there's so much content, and they seem to be, I wouldn't say milking it, but they seem to be giving us more content. There's more content for Division, you know. There's more content for Assassin's Odyssey. They're giving us more Battlefield. So that you can argue that, okay, well, they're just not making new titles, but actually they're not just giving us a new title every 12 months for the sake of it. I think I said last week on the pod, it would be nice if they did that with, like, you know, maybe with Blackout, Call of Duty Blackout, or, you know, maybe they just update it. Maybe they just don't release a new one, but they just constantly give you new stuff. And I'm hoping that we get more of that. We get a 2-year cycle out of our games, which takes the pressure off of developers to give you new shiny, but gives you new maps.
Yeah.
The only thing I want is, I just personally want more single player. So as I said earlier, if they're releasing more Battlefront or Battlefield content, they throw in a couple of bit more single player, even if it's only like an hour and a half. Just throw a bit of single player in there as well as the multiplayer.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because in Battlefield 5, they have like vignettes, don't they? So they could just, like, every now and then they could just drop a new vignette, couldn't they? And just kind of have that.
That would be good. But hey, we got a great E3, and we're looking forward to starting the Xbox up and playing some Lego. Yay!
Yes, some Forza Lego. I'll be playing that tomorrow. I've got one beer. I've got that beer that I didn't drink, so it's still in the fridge. So this is like, I don't know if that's no. I drank the ramen one. It's going to be another one. So, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. Well, I've got a day in London first. I get home, have some dinner.
So your day in London, you mean not your usual beer and burrito day then?
Oh, yeah, no, there'll be a beer and burrito, of course. It's what would you think I am, an idiot?
It's Friday.
Right. And that's about it for listening to this mammoth E3. We're looking like it's going to be at least 3 hours, too. This is awesome. Big thank you for pulling up on mic, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. I've painfully, you've taken my mind off my ankle. I've really enjoyed it.
There you go. Lost Sparks cure pain. It's official. And we still hate Matt for unlocking all those roads. Anyway, don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersofthespark.com. You can also find us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also on Gamers Lost Spark PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. Stu, where can people catch up with you?
You can find me on Xbox and PSN as General Letdown, and on Twitter as Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Awesome. Excellent. From me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch. PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, still playing Days Gone. And Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersofthespark.com. Oh my goodness, we did it, Stu.
Wow.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye, Stuart. Happy gaming.
Catch you later. Cheers, boy. My throat just started to hurt. I ran out of drink after like hour 1.